has got his ass routed. In coverage. But it's because his ass is just sitting right there. Get that motherfucker moving.
But you know what I
Make him lock on to somebody.
After becoming a teacher and working high school?
Kids are stupid.
Yeah.
Kids are stupid.
Like, as nice as I can make it, kids are pretty stupid. They don't really know. Like, if I tell them, like, hey, you see this dude standing in the slot right here?
It's happened to me.
Don't, like, this is your man. Just don't let him behind you. He can come up short, cool. Just don't let him behind you. And I've seen a kid do 9 times out of 9 still do the exact same thing. And it was like, all right, nigga.
I'm not gonna lie. I vividly remember me being that nigga. Coach called a timeout. It's a rival game. We playing at North Central College. We playing Naperville Central. And they making a run downfield. And the coach say it was a play that we locked on to and filmed. He say, Julian, watch out. They might try to sneak that running back out on a little slip as they roll out the other way. I say, bet. I seen the play. I know the play. He just told me watch out for the play. You got one job. Nigga like me, guess what the fuck he do? He let that motherfucking running back slip out. He didn't score. I stopped them from scoring because they was maybe on like the 12-yard line. I stopped them from scoring. But after that, they ended up scoring on that drive. I went back to the sideline. He said, what happened? Because we just talked about this. He said, what happened? And listen,
the funny part is because I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been on both sides of that exact same thing.
Yeah, you've been a coach and a player. He said, what happened? And listen, I was one of those players. I wasn't even gonna lie to you. I saw him. I knew he was coming. I just didn't know what he was doing. I was like, listen, he could have went upfield because the play was drawn out for the quarterback to roll out the opposite way, and then if the rollout wasn't working, he was gonna stop and hitch on across the field. So I'm trying to bait the pass. I'm trying to pick him off.
Yeah.
So I'm watching the quarterback. I told him, I was like, look, I was watching the quarterback. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I definitely, he got me.
All right. Welcome to 3 Point Stance Podcast, where we don't claim to be experts. We just give our takes, take it or leave it. We'll be fine either way. What's happening, gentlemen? How y'all doing on this Friday evening?
Oh, I'm good. It's a great day. It's right around the holiday. I ain't got to go to work tomorrow, nor Monday. So it's music to my ears at this point.
Man, that's it. What about you, Vic?
Oh, just relaxing. That's it. Just focusing on relaxing for the holiday.
For sure. Any gifts? Any expected gifts? Any last minute shopping?
Oh, that's all I do. Last minute shopping. That's my middle name around the holiday. It's crazy. I'm like, listen, I only got a certain amount of days of availability, and I don't plan to spend. I'm an Amazon guy, but I'm falling out of love with Amazon because around Christmas everything gets delayed. Everything gets delayed. Or if I'm an Amazon guy, I just gotta hop on Amazon early.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's what it is. So now I'm still making my way out to a few stores, but hopefully after tomorrow I'm done. I'm getting up early and I'm calling it quits by noon.
For sure. These kids lacking right now when it comes to my end. My wife then went crazy. Y'all auntie then went crazy. Y'all seen she was wrapping gifts when y'all came in, asking y'all questions because she's Miss Claus. I'm more like Scrooge or Grinch.
Like, shit, get them kids some. I don't get on there. Get them kids some. I don't know what they want.
I was absolutely dependent on Amazon, so they get it on the 26th.
I swear I got that change of shipping delivery just at the 27th. I said, damn, nigga.
And it just keeps every day.
Listen, it's damn. I was banking on you.
Hey, I know a lot of inside information about Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
So I was just...
Look at this. You should have... Show them your shirt, the sweater.
No, I ain't giving them no props out there. I just want to let y'all...
You the one I should be talking to right now.
I was going to say, I mean, your shit probably stolen. It's probably in my living room right now.
Listen, and me, I'm the type of guy, I'm going to try to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, my truck, the truck that fell off, slid off the road. It was raining today. That's my truck. So happened to be.
If y'all knew how to give us the packages, and then to think that I gotta give it to you after they gave it to me all shitty. Imagine you just bought a nice little comforter, matter of fact, a couch. You got a little small couch, and when they handed it to your driver, it's half destroyed. So now your driver pulled up to your house thinking to himself like, should I really drop this shit off to them?
Yeah.
Should I waste their life giving them this destroyed ass package?
I feel you because I worked for Amazon in Kenosha, and I know when it's coming out of that warehouse, y'all drivers or the ones that's in the trucks, not the ones that deliver to the house, but the ones that got to take it from source center to source center.
Tossing it in there.
We just be slamming them joints,
slinging it,
and then so it's getting tossed into that truck. It's getting tossed to the person inside the warehouse that got to actually sort the packages from where they go. Then it's getting tossed into the van, and then it's getting tossed on your doorstep. And you looking at the driver like he did something wrong, but in whole reality, it's been destroyed for 5 days before it got to him.
Hey, so 2 out of 3 of the crew here then messed up your packages in some way. But Snoopy ain't to blame. If he driving it to you, it's not his fault. It's basically what he said.
I just knew. It was like, nah, I ain't turning this shit in.
But I'm not mad that they slinging it. They got here in 2 days. They got to be moving stuff quick. So sure, you had to move quickly. Yep. Next.
Man, that's what I tell people. Holidays time, you better order that 2-3 weeks ahead of time. Because if you don't do it 2-3 weeks ahead of time, if it gets to you, you are blessed and it's destroyed.
Y'all hear that? If you ordering off Amazon, because I'm taking this note for myself, 2 weeks at least, because I got hit by the curse, the Amazon plague.
And you can blame us if you sending something to your wife or your girlfriend or your significant other. Blame us.
Don't blame us because I might have actually stolen it. I don't know. I might have seen it. It was like, hey, this look pretty good. I'm gonna just.
That's not me. I worked for Amazon in 2017, 2018. He's telling on himself now. But we're going to cut this conversation so he won't further incriminate
himself.
So the real icebreaker we want to get into, my nephews came with some killer topics on these joints. And I think I'm going to go ahead and pass to Vic first on his topic.
Yeah. I was just thinking to myself, I got a friend that is their ex has passed away, and they have been kind of demonstrating a lot of emotions, even though I know for a fact that they are currently in a relationship. So I thought to bring it to the podcast to ask you all and these guys, what is the appropriate response if your partner is, how emotional can they be to their ex dying?
How emotional can they be?
Yeah.
I think see, that's one of those questions where you say questions lead to more questions. Because now I need details.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine.
Okay, how long they been dating?
All right, so
were they dating? Because they're not dating anymore because she got a whole nother dude. But how long was she dating?
They were dating on and off for some years.
That was her last main boyfriend.
Yes.
Before the new. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You all right, so I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm a firm believer of what you did before me, who you was before me, what your relationship was before me has nothing to do with me. As long as you respect me, I don't care. That's a friend. I'm gonna trust that that's a friend. So you give me a reason to trust that that's not a friend. But if this is an old ex and I'm like, all right, now you in a moment where you saying like, cause I'm gonna just go to the extreme. You depressed, you crying like, I don't want to be bothered. You know, now I'm like, okay, am I just like,
how cool is this nigga?
Yeah. Like, is this who you really wanted to be with? Am I just like the it didn't work out type nigga? Like, don't make me the I didn't work out. Like, I'm him. What fucking Austin Reeves say? I'm him. So, you know, I ain't gonna make it an issue, but I'm gonna definitely question it. Like, okay, you're acting a little weird now. You're acting a little weird. We definitely gonna have to, you know, put it on the table and just get it out there front street. But I ain't gonna trip off it too much.
I'm gonna tell you like this: Juju's in those 20s where he's in a situation. His relationship is going well and things like that. So he hasn't really hit any or major things that I've been through. You either, Victor, I know you've been through a little bit more than Ju. Me personally, after being married, so let's just put it in the married box. You married me. Everything before me
is over with. It's OVO. Okay.
It's over with. So, okay, I like this question, Vic, when you brought it up early. To me, it would have to. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about my reaction. me, it's like you can bring it up. You can be like, oh man, so and so dad. Let's say it's a father of a kid or something like that they had together. I give it a reaction. I give it a conversation. Like, okay, you good? 24 hours basically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get the conversation going, because it's, especially if it's not fresh, like y'all just broke up like 6 months ago. We've been in a relationship 5, 6, 7 years, or married 5, 6, 7 years, and you like, oh, so and so Corey just passed, and now you done locked yourself, like you said, locked yourself in the room, you rocking like this and stuff, holding the old bears that he, but like, where does old bear come from? I done cleaned this whole house of all the extra that
you found memorabilia.
She hadn't shit.
I knew this day was gonna come.
Right. She got boxes in the attic, like, but truthfully, you know what I'm saying? If you had a situation, whether it's a friend or ex, whatever, whatnot, y'all were friends at one point, so I could see them actually, even my wife, having a, oh man, that's fucked up, that's messed up, or whatever, whatnot. But knowing my wife, y'all, TT, she just gonna be like, it is what it is. So I know I don't have to deal with that, because we know our exes. but if I did have to deal with, because that's my biggest fear. That's one of my, not fears, but one of my biggest like pet peeves. If you too close to your ex or whatnot, I just don't date people that are friends with their exes. Like it is, if you do that, that's fine. That's on you. That's your decision. I'm not knocking nobody. But if you want to date me, or if you want to marry me, ain't gonna be none of that. Me and my wife just had a male friend, female friends conversation. I have no use for them. I have no use for that conversation. Like, I'm talking to you, I'm coming home to you, I do everything with you. So I mean, we can be cordial, but I ain't finna hit you up. I ain't gonna come and hang out at your events or whatever, whatnot. It is what it is. That's why you an ex, because I cut you off. But them tears start falling, divorce papers gonna start hitting them.
see, I'm on two sides with it, because I'm not as extreme as the example I'm using. The example I'm using, like, she's on Facebook, like, I love you, I love you, I love you a million times.
Oh yeah,
she is like going full in on it, just like she's in a relationship.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, it's overboard. I agree, but I also know, like, to a certain extent, you don't necessarily know how you'll react until it happens. Because really, your entire existence, you could be like, nah, I'll be all right. Like, I'll be all right until that nigga die, and then you'd be like, damn, like that really, it really got to me, because it's like, especially because I think naturally you respond when somebody dies that's around your age. That's like, damn, like, you almost naturally put yourself in that position, like, that could have been me, or that I could have helped that person. You don't know how that person died. It's like, oh, I could have been there for that person, but I wasn't there for them because I was selfish and I went, because I'm not exactly on the part of, I think I could be a friend, like you're saying, friends with ex. Like, I could be a friend with an ex. I can very much be friends with an ex and not want to like you or want to have sex with you or something like that. I can.
No, definitely.
You're cool. You cool. We just not in a good. We not good in relationships. I can very much disassociate, which a lot of people can't do. Disassociate that relationship, like, feelings. I'm really good at that. Like, once it's gone, it's gone, and it's not gonna come back. And that's it. So now we homies. You're my best friend now. I'm sorry. You're not a girl I want to be with for the rest of my life. You're just
a friend.
You're just a friend, and that's cool. But I know a lot of people can't necessarily do that. But what she was doing was over the top. I would be looking at her
if you
with the side eye, like, bitch, you gonna sit here and be sad? I'm standing right here. Your happiness is right here.
You know what else is overboard to me? When you just said, well, I feel like I could have helped them. And I'm not being
that's a natural survivor's guilt thing. You don't know, like when you are in somebody's life and you're not in somebody's life anymore and they die, a natural reaction is to say, who knows, I could have prevented this.
Yeah.
But it's unrealistic because I mean life happens. You could have been there and they'd have died.
To me, the overboard part would be actually having that conversation, like, because then you have to, if you're thinking that more than likely the next question or the thought or the conversation that you have or maybe having with other people is, man, what if we never broke up? What if I stayed in touch? What if I continuously did this? What if I, whatever the reason was, what if
the series of survivor guilt that a person naturally has. If you haven't been in that person's life in 10 years, it's unrealistic to think that if 10 years later y'all was still together, it's unrealistic, but it's a natural reaction because you don't know. You know, you're hoping that you could have made a change in that person's life. You could have been a difference in that person's life, but in reality, you can't necessarily.
If it's me, if somebody, ex from my past died, I don't think I should be expressing that emotion even enough for my significant other to notice. I feel like at that point you doing too much. You too intact, or you too emotional about this, and it's already just throwing me off.
It's so hard to hold in.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I'm looking at you like,
but then don't be on social media.
You can drop one. Yeah, now I'll say that's what she went on social media. She went on. She has been posting for the last 5 days.
Yeah, she got
and
me
it's like, nigga. If you don't straighten up, what do all the females say? Stand up.
Better figure it out.
Like, yo, you have to stand up. But I do. It's a hard thing to be in.
Yeah.
Because I ain't gonna lie. I can think about my exes right now, and I can tell you straight right now to the world that I would not go too crazy, or I would be sad, be like, oh man, they were such a nice person, and then I would move on. But in reality, I don't know. That scares the hell out of me now that I'm thinking about it. It's like, man, I don't even cry at family members' funerals. I don't know if this person that I used to love might,
Vic,
break me down.
You don't cry as it is, so I don't see how you're more emotional than we are. But since it's getting a bit morbid, we gonna move to. That was a great topic, though. Folks out there, if y'all watching the video, when y'all watch the video, leave a comment and let us know how you would feel if your ex got overly emotional, took it to the overboard extreme, was lighting up Facebook like Vic's friend,
going crazy,
and let us know how you'd react. So we got another icebreaker. Icebreaker number 2 comes from Ju. Ju picked the Jonathan Owens "I'm the prize" in the relationship situation. So let me explain this situation, and I'll hand it over to Ju. So Jonathan Owens gets interviewed, and we all know that Simone Biles is a Olympic champion, internationally known. Jonathan Owens is a Green Bay Packers safety.
Maybe.
Right. Maybe. So she loves him to death. I see her on Twitter all the time. I've seen videos of fans bringing things that they made for her, from the stands down to where the wives can stand with the players, things like that. So she's big and heavy. She's a wife. She's a wife. But it's strange to me that he hit the interview with "I'm the prize." I don't know why people, like, as if to say, I don't know why people think like I'm married to Simone Biles, almost like the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift situation, where everybody's like, "Yeah, that's Taylor's boyfriend."
Yeah,
so go ahead, Ju, with your take on it.
Before I give my opinion, I'm gonna just try to keep it, cordial for everybody. Just set the playing field for everybody to relate on. Her being the superstar that she is and the athlete that she is, I know it takes a lot to go into that. So your significant other, despite what they do, they're gonna. I don't want to use they're gonna be the prize, but they're gonna be the significant part just because they're really carrying a lot of that load that you aren't. Understand that in any household, your breadwinner is out making the bread, and the connecting part is filling in the gaps and filling up the space. I feel like he getting a little bit too much backlash in the sense of his statement. And maybe it could be a little cocky in me. Maybe it could be, a little weird in me to think so. But more of what I'm saying when I say I agree with him, I think he's a prize in the sense of just general men in America. General, I mean, not even make it general to, shorten that gap. Black men in America. She got a dude that's on his shit. Like, he got a career for himself. He might not be the biggest and the best football player, but he make his own money. He don't got all the crazy baby mama drama in and out of, sports headlines, TMZ. He don't got all, and it could be just because he isn't a top athlete, but I feel like that's the benefit. You don't got, somebody who always in the spotlight. Like, I think of how tough it would be to be the significant other, to be that Travis Kelce to Taylor Swift. Like, if something go wrong, Travis, it's your fault. But no, I think he is a prize because I think he like I said before, he the type of dude who got his shit together. And it's not a lot of, sad to say, and I wish I could say differently, it's not a lot of men and there's not a lot of black men in the world today who got their shit together. So he is the prize because I guarantee you there's more women out there who would love to have him. And no disrespect to Simone Biles because you beautiful, gorgeous, you doing your thing. So keep it going. No offense to her. There's more of her in this world than there is him. And I'm not even talking about, she got the athletic superior, but I'm just saying pretty women who got something going for themselves, who got money, who they independent. Think of how many men there are like that. I feel like I connect with dudes a little bit more when I be like, you got your shit together. You seem like you got your head on straight. Even if I don't, I'm like, you're a good, positive role model around me. I could hang out with you because I feel like you could guide me down the wrong path. So, he is the prize. And I feel like maybe a lot of people just misinterpret. That's how I interpreted when he said that he was the prize. And I feel like maybe other people obviously got their own different opinion, which is, I don't want to say they misinterpreted, but you just took it a different way, which a statement can be taken in so many different ways. But I say when you look at it from that point of view, he is a prize. And she a prize too. And together they just make a great presentation. That's a great gift.
Yeah, I think a part of me thought he was joking anyway. Like, I feel like that's a natural thing as a husband to joke as, like, it's just be like. But not to mention that this is something that popped in my head when you was thinking all that stuff. I don't know any rich Olympians. I've never heard of Olympians getting paid a lot of money.
Unless you got a lot of them medals.
No, even then, if you really think about
it's really all endorsements.
Endorsements. So I get that you get endorsements, but like, think about it. Ronda Rousey was an Olympian. Yeah. It wasn't until the UFC when she started to make some money. She has documentaries and stuff where she was talking about how broke she was while she was winning gold medals. So to me, I'm like, okay, is she making that much money? She's probably more famous than him. Yeah, but she ain't necessarily. And then to say what your point is that he's somebody who don't have no kids. He ain't been married before. He a millionaire. Or if he ain't a millionaire, he close to it. Because I ain't gonna count his pockets. Like, he close to it. He has a job he goes to that he gets a lot of vacation time on. So he can go wherever he want to go. If she need to go overseas to Tokyo or wherever, he there. He could be very supportive. So to me, it's like, okay, he's I can see why he could think to himself, I'm a prize. I can see why Simone Biles don't necessarily look as much of a prize because this breadwinner talk. When did we see how much bread she made?
She made.
I ain't seen that. She ain't on no
Forbes top. Forbes list.
No, I ain't seen her on no Forbes under 25, no Forbes under 30. So to me, she probably not making crazy amount of bank anyway. She make good money on endorsements, but as soon as she retires, let's be real, them endorsements is gone. Mm-hmm. So I can understand why that could seem like he is the prize, but I honestly believe that he was joking. I think he was saying something to be funny because it's probably a natural thing that people say to him anyway.
Yeah.
People probably always say, "Oh, you lucked up. You got Simone." Like, and I'm sure he probably thinks to himself, like, "Dang, yeah, what about me? I'm doing good in life." So I think he honestly probably said it jokingly and just was going on about his day. But the internet, they go on internet, and they came for his back. You don't dare you say that about your wife. How dare you?
Yeah, I think the same way. I agree with both of you guys' points. I think in the sense, I feel like he was joking. He was trying to bring some light to it because you do have those situations like the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. I think in the beginning, I think it kind of was like that with Jay-Z and Beyonce because Beyonce was a pop, because that pop stardom is way bigger.
Yeah.
And then Jay started making business moves, and then it became equal, and then he kind of surpassed her as the mogul side. So then he got bigger and started meeting bigger people. So when it comes to this situation, I do feel like it was a light skin moment too. Like he probably was honestly like he probably does hear it a lot. Like Simone Biles is well known, so she's the prize, and he's like, well, if y'all look at my bank account, I'm the prize. I'm the one taking care of all these bills. And then I think he mentioned like she chased him, or the internet was saying that
because she said she wanted to be with like a football player type of dude.
Yeah. So she was kind of looking for him almost, and I'm not saying this as about Simone Biles is saying that she's an Instagram model and like that. But that sounds what's the I can't remember her name. The Brittany Renner.
Oh yeah,
Brittany Renner is if you telling people you want to find a football player, that sound like you searching for pockets.
Chasing, you chasing.
You played football. She wasn't looking for you. She was looking for NFL.
Don't just say football, because I played football too.
Higher echelon.
Right. I played too.
But I think in relationships, I think both partners are the prize. Obviously, you're looking for somebody, the other person's looking for somebody or whatever. The woman is seen as the prize we're supposed to chase and take or whatever, but I did feel like it was a light-skinned moment. He did look like he did get a light-skinned, cocky gaze. Like,
he had the Nelly Band-Aid on and everything. It was like, nigga, cool out. Like,
relax.
Why are you like this at this interview right now? Like,
because at this time of the day,
because he was getting disrespected for a minute, so I ain't mad. He like, listen, they want me out here in these streets. Little do y'all know,
right?
I'm the hot commodity. Which I'm rooting for you, because they love to discredit somebody when they get a chance. But stand up, stand in your bit. Listen, Jonathan Owens, if you ever watch this, I'm with you. Power to the light skin.
Power to the men.
The light skins, the men,
whatever
and our freedom.
All right, let's move on. We're gonna go into NBA news. We're gonna first start off with our hometown Chicago Bulls. And the Chicago Bulls have been without Zach LaVine for a significant amount of games. The first week it was like, he's probably back in a few days. And it hasn't been that way. So then rumors started kicking in about, maybe they're about to trade him. Maybe they're trying to, leave him fresh, make sure he doesn't get injured. It's almost been 3 weeks now. So it's starting to feel more like an injury, and they can't trade him because of it. But it's a lot of drama. But also, the Bulls have been balling since him. I think 8-3 since he's been gone, or since he's been out this stint, because I think he missed one game early in the season. So then 8-3 from this 8-3 from this stint, I believe. And Kobe's been balling. P. Will then stepped up. Caruso put a handle bag on somebody. I think tapped him Lakers game or something like that. It's like, where was all this when Zach? So I want to talk to y'all about this, and I'll start with you, Ju. What are your thoughts on the Bulls with and without Zach LaVine? And if you want to go into the trade scenarios or your thought of what the organization is kind of doing with him.
Yeah, I think I've been for the longest anti-Zach LaVine. I don't know why. It's just something about him that just rubs me the wrong way. But I feel like this is kind of what my argument has been. Zach LaVine is good, but when Zach LaVine is on the court, he slows down the pace of the game. He is very ball dominant. Not saying that he can't produce without the ball in his hand, but he likes the ball in his hand. If you see Zach LaVine dribble up the court, he's dribbling up the court. He's going to try to see if he can get something. He's going to force something, see if he can get the force. Then he's going to bail out. Then he's going to kick it out. And don't throw it back to him with a few seconds left on the shot clock because he is going to shoot it. And he don't care where he at. It's a shot. So I think my whole point with Zach LaVine is I don't think he's a bad player. I just don't think – I think it's hard to play a team game around him, especially when you have a young, unestablished team with their identity. It's hard to get young players to establish their identity around a dude who's hard to play with. DeRozan was already enough for us when we got DeRozan because he played a slower game of basketball, definitely on the offensive side of the ball. But DeRozan's benefit is he wasn't a great shooter. So DeRozan was only going to really affect the paint. You knew DeRozan was driving, backing down, kick out. So it was like, okay, we need to get shooters. We was like, okay, that's really why we went and got the LaVine and the LaMelo Ball. Like, okay, we need to go get some guys who can play the perimeter and the Kobe Whites, where it's like, okay, even if you can't shoot the ball, we can kick it to you, and you're a guy that can do something off the dribble. So I think the progression of the Bulls in the past couple games has been in the sense that these young dudes are starting to gain their identity, and Kobe White has been snapping. But I think that's why he like, okay, I don't got to worry about Zach LaVine making sure he get his 20 shots a game. I don't have to worry about what he going to do with the ball and making sure I'm in the right place that he needs me to be in because he going to take that fourth shot and maybe need to bail out with a pass. So I feel like now that he's gone, you get them players and they actually able to make plays and play into their comfort and move around and play as a team. Basketball is so much easier when you play as a team than when you play as an individualistic type of style. And that's why I see a hurt with a lot of those super teams and, you know, stack teams. It's like, you got so many superstars. The difficulty is how can you make this cohesive? Like, how can you make all these dudes play together and gel together? Because that's what you're going to be able to beat and be that consistent team where, like, okay, you could go on a run. Because it's like, I know how to play with you. I know how to play with you. You like to do this. You like to do this. But you really looking to feed me, and I'm really looking to feed. I'm just looking to play team ball. Like, I'm trying to make my game easier rather than the Zach LaVine where it's like, okay, he kind of trying to carry the bag, which you the guy. You the best scorer or the best player on the team, however you want to put it. But it don't mean that you always come with all benefits.
Yeah, I get that. See, I actually think the problem is Billy Donovan. The problem is Billy. Yeah, but to me, I noticed that if you really look back to his NBA coaching career, it has always predominantly been a two-man show. And whenever they had the opportunity to make it a three-man show, the third person gets cut out. Think about early on, OKC. He took this job from Scott Brooks. James Harden was already gone. So now it's just Russ and KD. KD leaves. They make the trade for Paul George and Carmelo Anthony. They could not make it work with Carmelo Anthony. He could not figure out how to
on his way out.
But the thing is, you got to think about it. Carmelo Anthony played 3 years after he left there. Yeah. But people made it seem like he sucked because Billy Donovan couldn't figure it out. I don't know why Billy Donovan ended up being an end-all, be-all in that situation. But he comes to Chicago. We make the trades. And it has been, for the last 2 years, the Zach and DeMar show. They take 20 shots each. And after they take 20 shots each, in reality, nobody else shoots. Now, I think in this situation, this stint where Zach has been out, something has clicked for the players, and I think Kobe White for sure. Obviously, Kobe White's going to get more shots because you got the two-player system, which Billy Donovan does. He just decided to pick Kobe White this time. He has picked other players in the past. Ayo has had streaks in the past. Vooch has had streaks in the past. For some reason, he never gets past the two-player. Now, I will say, outside of the fact that Kobe White has been shooting a lot more consistently and expecting to shoot, DeMar hasn't been holding the ball nearly as slow or as long. And I think that's because the fact that other people are starting to shoot good.
Yeah.
if Alex Caruso wasn't shooting over 50% from three, you think he was gonna pass it to him? No. If he was shooting 20-something% like he has in the past, DeMar would have took this sweet old time to get that free throw, or to get that pump fake, finally shoot. That's the only reason why the ball is starting to move more. It's because he's confident in his teammates, and I don't think there's ever been confidence in the teammates. Now, the sad thing is, when Zach LaVine comes back, you know what's just going to happen? Yeah. I think they'll start moving the ball good like they've been doing since he's been gone. But Kobe White is going to take a hit. Mm-hmm. He's going to go back to shooting 5 shots, maybe 7 at the most, and when he's been shooting 23 shots a game.
And he's a rhythm player.
And he's a rhythm player. And if you take him out the rhythm, he's not going to be good, which is something you should have learned by now. Because in reality, this team is exactly the same as been for 3 years. So
nothing has changed. Besides injuries, we lose people.
Yeah,
but
in reality, since what? December of 2 seasons ago, this has been the same team.
Yeah.
An occasional switch, Torrey Craig for Javonte Green, but in reality,
no big changes,
no major changes in reality. So it's like, okay, why is it so hard for them to? I think it's because Billy Donovan only knows how to run a 2-man game. That's it. I'm gonna give to my 2 guys 20+ shots, and everybody else gonna shoot from 7 to 5, maybe less, and call it a day.
I think a lot of it is Billy depending on superstars. So I kind of agree with what you're saying, like sticking to the stars that he knows are more consistent. I think in this patch of games, what's showing up is the Spurs version of DeMar DeRozan, where he averaged 8 to 9 assists, over a couple of seasons. I think he was at 7 or 8, might be exaggerating 9, but it was close to it. But he was more of the offense initiator, but not the offense dominant. Like, I think over the last few years, he was trying to remind people, like, I'm still, DeMar DeRozan. I'm still all-star caliber. I still can get it done if I need to. I think the problem with the Bulls, with Zach, is that a lot of his moves or main moves take so many dribbles and they start from so far out. So once he gets into drive mode, he's driving from like 30 feet out and coming in. So then he doesn't really see the court like that. With Kobe White, he's like really meticulous with his handling. He's worked on that over the last 2 off seasons, where he's trying to be more of a distributor, but he knows he has to score as well. And I think with Zach sitting, it actually has allowed the team to depend on 3, but it's just a different way. Like, Vooch isn't necessarily, he's getting more touches in the paint now, but he's also getting a lot of dribble dump offs. Like Kobe drive, wrap it around. DeMar drive, dump it off. Like even Andre Drummond has gotten into. He just had a 14-point game, I believe, or a 12-point game. So I think it's a lot of drive dish, pick and roll, pick and pop with Vooch, pick and roll, or rim run with Andre Drummond. But the ball has moved a lot more efficiently. Like, people aren't just holding the ball. DeMar's not even really holding the ball unless it's a close game and he feels like he's got to get this basket. But the closer recently has been Kobe White, and he has shown that he can close by driving, by shooting, like, because he's starting to take Zach LaVine range threes too. But once he drives, he's looking to kick the ball, and I think that's all being it's all affecting the rest of the offense. Like, Pat Williams is moving the ball, like he's driving, he's attacking the basket, he's attacking the boards too. So I think there's a lot more energy involved when everybody feels like they can be a part of something and they can get their shots off.
If I have 3 people on my team shooting over 50% from 3, I'm gonna pass the ball. I'm gonna pass the ball. But when they were shooting 20, being a little iffy.
No, but that's
now I think I'm gonna go ahead and take this bow. I go to the line
real quick before you make your point. To that point, two games ago, they started off the game the last game, I think they started off 1 for 20 from 3. So they still were shooting. They just were looking for the best shot. So when they came back out, I think they ended 7 of 28, which ain't much better. but it's much better than 1 for 20.
Yeah.
So I think they even when they aren't shooting well, they start driving or getting second chance points, or they're running like crazy.
Yeah.
Fast breaks, transition, different things like that. So they're doing everything that they normally wouldn't do when Zach is on the floor because the ball is sticking because he's bringing up the court, like you said, full court.
I'll say another thing is he wouldn't. They don't run unless when Lonzo was there. So I think Kobe White probably kind of notices over the year or so the advantages that they had when Lonzo was there. So it's like, hey, let's see if I can do the best Lonzo impression, and that way they won't need to look for a point guard, because that's what they did last year. Look for a point guard.
But it was really to find somebody who can create productivity outside of Zach LaVine with the ball in their hand. That's what LaMelo Ball was. It was like, okay, Lonzo Ball, excuse me. That's what he was. It was like, okay, here's a guy who can, what Kobe White is doing, be a threat at the basket, towards the basket, but his first, thought off the dribble is, who can I get it to? Who can I find cutting? Who can I find, sitting at the three? Because, the defense is shading towards me as I, go towards the paint. And then Kobe White, his benefit is the dude is crazy athletic. He's super athletic.
Yeah, he got bunnies.
Like, he a smaller size, but he kind of like that Ja Morant style where it's like, the dude, if he get up, he getting over you. So, all right, like, you get him in those rhythms. You get those guys where it's like, all right, you can start off 1 for 20, but in the sense of how you start off 1 for 20, your three's not dropping. So we about to go to the paint, and maybe we'll try to come back to the three later, because we're playing off of what works, and it's not like, okay, the three's not working or nothing's working. Let's get the ball to Zach LaVine because nothing's working. It's like, all right, we need to find something that's going to work. And then as a coach, you actually have to coach the team, and you can't rely on your superstars to just go out there and be like, all right, see what you can do, carry us.
So basically, Billy Donovan's been here for 4 years and just decided to start coaching.
Yeah, start coaching.
It just started to decide to start coaching. And he was just like been watching everybody. But that's also why the rumors have started for Zach LaVine with the trade, is because of the fact that he's been kind of saying, hey, can somebody coach?
Yeah, coach.
Can somebody coach? Nobody, and nobody else was really saying.
Pat Bev said that though. Pat Bev said that though last year before he left. He was saying like, Chicago, like the coaching in Chicago, it's like the coaching is non-existent. That's why I think Pat Bev was taxing them so much, because he like not really taxing you because of what I can provide for you on the court. It's what I got to provide for you in the locker room and practice and accountability and leadership.
I'm your middleman,
because you already know DeRozan gonna be. He's you already know. You could tell he a quiet dude. He do what he came here to do. I came here to ball. If you want to ball, you can ball or not. I'm gonna play basketball, and I actually hope you don't ball, so I can ball a little bit harder, because I just feel like putting on a show today.
Yeah, cause Billy. Yeah, it just seemed like Billy is like you said, when it's larger stars with bigger demeanors, you're scared to offend them, you're scared to say the wrong thing, you're scared to tell them, hey, you can't do that, you can't launch a 30-foot three-pointer when we got a 5 or 6 point lead. Let's bring it down, let's do this or whatever. Slow it down, be patient, let everybody move around and look for somebody. So I think you're right. It's more not necessarily that he can't coach multiple or three, in my opinion. It's just the fact that once he realizes that there's too many big egos or too many superstars or stars, then he's like, well, I'm gonna let them do it. And because I don't want to
treat stars. That's how you treat stars, which is an understandable thing to treat stars, because you don't necessarily want to, especially in the NBA today, maybe in the past, in the NBA today, that creativity is what make those stars the stars.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily want to go to them and be like, hey, can you not shoot that 30-footer? Because it is like, yo, if I'm high, I hit that. So it's like, all right, how do I argue that? Hey, man,
like a Dame Lillard. How do you arguing?
Yeah, so it's hard. Matter of fact, that's actually a perfect example, because Milwaukee is actually going through a similar thing where they letting Dame do what he want, but at the same time, it ain't always working. So they're not always winning. So it's like, all right, how as a coach do you come out and say, hey, pal, the thing that makes you a superstar It ain't working. So you ain't a superstar no more. So now how do you have that conversation? I just paid you $100 million, something, $200 million. You better still be a superstar. You better still be a superstar. So it's a hard conversation to have with a star. And Billy Donovan has always seemed like the person to not do that. Granted, is most of the time has worked for him. If you think about his time at OKC, not even when it was Kevin Durant and Russell, when it was Russell and Paul George, Russell continues to do his triple-double thing, and Paul George, if it wasn't for injury, had votes for MVP.
Yeah.
So he had one of the best years of his career. Yeah. So it's like, who knows? Maybe he is some kind of superstar whisperer, but as of right now in Chicago, it seemed like it kind of got some frost to it because it's like, you need to warm that up because it ain't working at least for the guys that we would like it to work for.
Right.
Like DeMar's playing better than he's ever played, but at the same time, it ain't helping nobody else on the team.
Yeah,
it's not helping. It's hindered Patrick Williams. It's hindered Kobe White. It's hindered Ayo Dosunmu, who's come up and clutch for you, and then you send them to the back of the bench. Like it's worked for. Like it's hard when it's like it doesn't ever seem like for Billy Donovan's sake that he's propelling his superstars and also propelling the rest of the guys. It seemed like it's just propelling superstar. And so far, the fruits of the labor has only been to DeMar.
Yeah.
It's only been to DeMar.
Yeah. And speaking of Ayo has been kind of crushing it. Before we move on to around the NBA news, Ayo has been killing it with the energy. I think he's also mimicking that Lonzo Ball effect where he gets the ball and he just takes off, which he did a lot his rookie year.
Yeah, that was his play style in college.
Yeah, right. He was wasn't he the point guard at he won a
he was like Big Ten player. He I think actually he might have been point guard because they had the big center with him at U of I during that time. That was a high prospect.
Yeah, so Ayo, everybody's attacking, getting out on transition. I think DeMar gives them that faith where Zach may not be mean or like, nah, y'all can't do that. But I think DeMar is more of a friendly team guy where he's like, man, get yours. Like, do what you got to do. Let's learn. Because he did that with the Spurs. They were losing. And he took a step back. Yeah. So I think now he's back in that step back mode. Now that he doesn't feel like he has to be Batman or Robin. But speaking of guys that have the ego and that kind of, take over a team a little bit too much to the detriment of the team at times, or do things to the detriment of that team, we're going to move into the return of Ja Morant. Ja Morant was suspended for the two-time gun waving on the internet championship. Bang, bang. Boom. Boom. Kevin Hart.
Gun compartment.
So Ja returns from suspension, lights it up. Vic brought up the fact that the Grizzlies haven't started off very well. They're pretty much in the basement in the West, and Ja has returned. So the question is, and we'll start with Vic, can the Grizzlies turn their season around now that Ja Morant has come back?
Hell no. Hell no. No, and it's not like, oh, Ja Morant not good enough or anything like that, or the team is not good enough. It's not even that. It's honestly the West is doing entirely too good. I don't see the West just all of a sudden being a cakewalk. Not to mention that something that a lot of people are not talking about. Dylan Brooks. You got to think about the fact that when Ja Morant ever got hurt or didn't play, somebody who stepped up in a big way for them was always Dylan Brooks. Now, he didn't always show up when they needed him when Ja was there, but when Ja wasn't there and they was letting him get the shots, Dylan Brooks was playing very well. So to me, that shows why y'all wasn't good while Ja was out. Because y'all didn't have that person that could, because Desmond Bane is good. He's good. But in reality, he's Clay. He's Klay Thompson. He's somebody who's just gonna catch and shoot for you, play some occasional good on-ball defense, and then go about his day. Jaren Jackson is not somebody who can carry a team offensively. Defensively, he can lock down. He's one of the best big men in the league. I give it to him defensively. But after that, I believe Steven Adams is not back yet. So it's like you're really missing entirely too much, and you didn't really get a proper replacement for Dillon Brooks. Now, yeah, Dillon Brooks got a lot of antics, a little extra. I get it. He kind of pokes the bear when he don't need to poke the bear. But in reality, he did what they needed him to do. And they didn't find a replacement. They didn't find a proper replacement. Not for that attitude. Not for that being able to play defense and offense. You know, I know they got Marcus Smart over there. Mm-hmm. But it's like Marcus Smart do the defensive. He can make your team a little tougher. But let's be real about on-ball defense guys. They only ever have like 1 year. Patrick Beverley's been living off the one defensive first team all defense, and has been getting paid off that for his whole career. Marcus Smart probably about to do the same thing. So it makes sense. Drew Holiday, it's like, yo, he's good. Now, if Drew Holiday wasn't on the Boston Celtics, you'd probably be having a different conversation about Drew Holiday. Defensive player guys don't necessarily ever last long. So it's like, I need somebody who could do both. And Dillon Brooks, oddly enough, did both when Ja Morant wasn't there. So to me, it's like, nah, you don't have none of the pieces. Not only that, but a lot of teams in the West are starting to figure it out. Minnesota didn't figure it out. I don't know why it took them this long, but they didn't figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know about the turn the season around. And I feel you on that. It's like, they lost some pieces, Steven Adams being out right now. Dillon Brooks did bring that attitude. He also brought streaky shooting. So I wouldn't say he was consistent, but he wasn't scared. I think Marcus Smart is a little bit more scared to shoot or be offensive. Even with the Celtics, you know, he took a three here and there or whatnot, but he never tried to take over a game. And that's what Dillon Brooks would do if Ja Morant was on the floor or if he wasn't. Like he didn't care.
If he got rolling, he knew, like, hey, I'm about to just keep on rolling.
Right. So, and then him bringing that attitude made everybody else get that attitude. I think that even kind of affected Bane. Bane was a little quieter, a little standoffish, didn't really want to.
He gave them the right energy. Dillon Brooks made them the villains.
Yeah.
Nobody was talking about them until Dillon Brooks started snapping off. It was like, yeah, y'all was winning. But when Dillon Brooks started bringing that whole kind of dirty little play a little bit, but talking stuff at the same time, it was like, yeah,
what we not going to do is highlight Dillon Brooks like he really do some shit. I've been letting y'all niggas talk, but y'all been said Dillon Brooks about 10 times.
All I'm saying is he brung streaky scoring. That's it.
Listen, what Drake say? Shawty Ransom, Dillon Brooks. Can't believe this nigga talking. What the fuck are we talking about Dillon Brooks for? No offense. I see y'all point, and I see where y'all coming from. But in our reality, he's a clown.
He is.
I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that.
Listen, he's a clown. And I mean, not to discredit his basketball play with his streaky shooting and maybe his on-ball defense that I haven't seen really slow anyone down. He may be an annoyance, but you want to know who else was an annoyance? Lance Stevenson.
Yeah.
Where the hell did he get? He got shipped to China.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He got shipped. Dillon Brooks better be happy he got a team right now. Why you over here dancing and shit?
Listen, yeah, he got
the Rockets. The Rockets rolling, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
To address the question, do I think the Timberwolves will really amount? I mean, the Memphis Grizzlies. If I think the Grizzlies will amount to something this year, no, I don't think they will. I think that they're a young team with a lot to learn. Ja Morant coming back and the fire he ignites under his team with him just being a player that he is, I think will be great for the development of their team, and it'll be good for them to move on, you know, into next year and even in this year, seeing where they place out. But I don't think it's because of Dillon Brooks. I don't think they're a worser team because I do agree with one point. I think Dillon Brooks brought that villain mentality to the team where they was like, all right, F it. Everybody counting us out already. So, like, I can't embarrass myself. Dylan Brooks already embarrassing himself more than anybody else on this team can. So if I shoot a 3 and miss it, shoot a 3 air ball, he gonna be the trending topic. So I think he did bring a villain mentality, like, we don't care. We're gonna go out here and play. But I don't think he brought a mentality to the team that they couldn't go find from free agency or they couldn't go find off the street somewhere. You could get Bubba, the dude who be trash, and he can bring some energy to your locker room doing what Dylan Brooks do. It's a troll.
Yeah, I think to me, he just brought the energy. It's the energy that he brought to Memphis.
You think he brought more energy than John? He brings more energy than John Morant?
To me, Ja is I'm gonna go do it. Like I'm gonna play it.
But I think it's better because he's a lead by example.
I think the rest of them players can't necessarily be aggressive in the other places that Ja's not necessarily aggressive in. Ja ain't necessarily diving on the floor and like, no, he gonna try to dunk on you and he gonna break your ankles. But outside of that, Ja is just doing the flash part. You're talking about making the rest of your team tough, because that's really what Memphis is is grit. All these grit and tough dudes around and around Ja Morant. Yeah, there's always been like that. But now that Dylan Brooks is gone, they don't necessarily have that attitude. They don't even have the attitude. So it's like, all right, y'all was really talking crazy to the Warriors. Y'all was really talking crazy to the Lakers. But y'all was only talking crazy to them because Dylan Brooks was talking crazy to them. But I think that gives you the right. That gives you the right energy into going to the game instead of just going to the game just happy to be here, because that's what they playing like right now. Yeah, they playing like, I'm just happy we just happy to be in the NBA, pal.
I think it's the combo of Adams. Adams is that true enforcer, and then that goofiness that you're talking about from Brooks, where he's diving on the floor, he's antagonizing people, because there are some, and I hate to say it, but this is AAU effective ball where everybody's emotional. KD is chirping people on Twitter. And so if he can be influenced by somebody on Twitter or somebody on the court,
imagine what Dylan Brooks, how bad he get under their skin by saying the smallest thing, like, oh, he can't guard you, to Ja Morant, which we all know you can't guard Ja Morant. But at the same time, you're not going to just say that to my face. So now I'm bothered. I'm bothered. And I think that was half the battle for Memphis. But now that whoop that trick and stuff like that, you don't hear a whole lot of that no more. I think that all that starts with the fact that Dylan Brooks acts a fool.
I think that starts because it's that dude Ja Morant.
Acts
a fool.
I think
your team chemistry, your team morale gonna die when your star player can't get right.
Real quick, to your point, and you get back to your point, but I got something for him in the Ja Morant being more. When Ja Morant was out last year before the suspension, they were doing well.
They was doing well
with Dylan Brooks.
They was doing well.
So and Bane and Brooks were stepping up in that. But that's why I said I think it's that combination of having that enforcer and Steven Adams who sets picks, gets you free, stands up for folks, really, and he does it without talking. Like he just walks around like Jason Momoa or something like that. And
let's go, mate. That's enough. That's what he says.
Right. Who he carried?
Tony Bradley. All right, mate. That's enough.
That's enough.
Mate. Don't call me mate. Don't call me mate and then pick me up off the ground, sir.
I mean, I definitely do think Dylan Brooks had an effect with his presence. I think it was secondary.
How do you replace that?
I think his presence was secondary. Ja Morant is that team.
Yeah.
Imagine going into the season where you like, the nigga that's supposed to help me, help you, help me, help us is gone.
Yeah,
I got all my faith on this one man.
25 games or something like that.
That's a long suspension.
Yeah, but in reality, still enough time to where I could turn my team around if my team was worth something. It ain't worth nothing.
But that's what I'm saying. As a team, you thinking now you're questioning. The first time they was able to continue to play because it's like, okay, first time, shame on me. This is the second time. When are you gonna get it together? Why am I here trying if you can't even get it together to do what you need to do to be here? It
could turn into inside.
To me, if I'm looking at that, if I'm his teammate, I'm like, all right, John, I know what you could do on the court, but do I even want to stay here? Because I don't know if you're gonna be on the court. Because I mean, strike 2, strike 3, you on the Draymond Green effect. They just suspending you and they taxing you out the wazoo. And then look at what's happening to Draymond Green. Now he in trade talks. Do you really want to keep him? Because is he more of a liability than an asset to your team? So I don't think Ja Morant is at that liability stage, but it's the questioning of how much of an asset. We know what you could do on the court, but how often can we see you on the court? Because in the span of a year, you've been suspended now twice.
Not to mention that he actually is in trial right now for the incident with the child.
My point
so
exactly.
It's very possible that he could.
My point exactly. More time. So even though he come back, his team's still like, shoot, in a couple weeks, in another month, you might not even be with us.
I got a quick question then. Do you think they tanking?
I mean,
knowing that he already missed 20 games, it's very possible that he might miss the second half of the season after this trial is over.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And would you believe that Memphis would take a dive to get a good lottery pick, and then you can now replace that Dillon Brooks guy with somebody that can play some good defense, or trade that pick for somebody who can play defense and score? So.
I think you bring up a good question. I ain't thought about that yet.
I think we would have to give it another couple of weeks, maybe another 20 games to see how they play. Because right off the bat, they won the first game. He was back.
Against the Pelicans, hit the game winner.
Hit the game winner. So it looked like he brought that sauce back that we talking about. So maybe they start getting that energy. They start, revolving around his energy and really start taking it to teams now. We'll see. I don't think they can turn around. I think it's a little too late. They might be able to catch a little fire and get to 10th, 9th, or
credit. They won that Pelicans game, but they won by the skin of their teeth. So it was like, hey, you really don't have enough. And this is the Pelicans who still haven't quite figured it out themselves. So
Yep. All right, we're gonna move on. I guess we don't think they can do it.
Nah, that's OVO.
We're going to move on to the internet's going crazy over the Lakers raising the IST, the in-season tournament banner. And what's with all the hate with this so-called banner being posted up? I'll start off on this one. There was a lot of hate that I've seen in regards to it being almost one of those Mickey Mouse type of championships, and I think it's because it's the Lakers. It combines that
it's LeBron.
You got it in LeBron, and you got them winning the COVID championship, which everybody puts an asterisk mark on, and just like they kind of put the Miami Heat first one, one when they when the season was shortened or whatever. But this one, in a sense, to me, I don't have any hate about it. It's just weird to me because it's new, and it's like it's gimmicky, and it's not because of the Lakers. It's because of Adam Silver trying to get all this extra revenue, all these extra views, because the NFL gets 9.2 million views per game, and the NBA only gets 700,000. So I think
don't really tune in until All-Star break.
So right, exactly, because football is king. So I think a lot of the in-season tournament, it's just so fresh, and nobody really understands it, because you're really playing your schedule, and then you advance if you don't lose to your schedule, but you're not really playing a playoff. You're not necessarily playing a ranked team like in college. It's your tournament based on seeding, at least the NCAA tournament, because I know the Big Tens and different things. Some people sneak in with like
losing records,
sub 500 record. Yeah. So to me, the reason why it's funny to me, and I watched the video, and this one guy put a short out, and he went through the records of the teams that they played. And I believe they played like the Pelicans or they teams. Basically a bunch of trash teams. There was 2 6-15. They played one team, I think it was the Pelicans, that was like 6-15 at the time. They played a few others that were sub 500 that was very trash. And then they got to the championship and played Indiana. And it's like, we gonna raise a banner that and I get, because everybody's gonna say, well, you play who's in front of you, but to me, it's not the Lakers' fault. It's the tournament and the way it's built fault. It's like, you're not gonna take the teams that have the better records at the time and then put them in, or have some other, maybe who's scoring the most points or the biggest point differential and then put them some sort of criteria. Now we just going, everybody's playing and you're playing your schedule. And if you lose, you get put out. But if you don't, you make it. And that's the way we get there. So it don't matter who's in the schedule. It doesn't matter the records or whatever. And we're going to hoist a championship banner about an in-season tournament that nobody really understands. And if you understand it, you're just a Laker fan there right now. Like, we won. That's why I understand. And then the fact that, to me, Kobe said, Lakers do not hang anything but NBA title banners. And that's Western Conference, division, anything like that. We just want NBA titles. And yes, it's a championship, but because it's not a constructed or well constructed, to me, it's like, hang it, cool, but I'm not putting much weight in it. You know, if you want to hang it, that's fine. If you want to talk about it as one of your pinnacles or a pennant or something like that, I'm all right with it. But it's just the fact that they didn't beat anybody to really get there. They beat people they should have beat. And even Indiana, they should beat them. Halliburton is balling, but what else do they got? But I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm going to take it next because I'm a Lakers fan.
I know.
So I'm going to speak on it because Vic may come with a anti-Laker comment. So before he taint the audience and the conversation, kind of agreeing with you saying, but taking it in a different way of I don't want to say that you're not validating. You're just questioning the rising of this banner. And I wouldn't say that I put that on the Lakers. I would say I think the rising of this banner is kind of what we were saying towards how the league constructed this tournament. They rose that banner because the league is trying to initiate and implement this tournament until this is legit. So I don't really put that on the Lakers. Also, I don't really stand by the discredit of its value or of importance, or maybe they could have done it. Obviously, it could have probably been done so many different ways. I think a lot of things that different leagues do. But I think in the sense of what they're trying to do, I think it's a great idea. They trying to, and not outside of the views of maybe what the NBA's purpose of it is to get these players to play at those early, middle parts of the season to, more than anything, bring in that viewership, but get the people what they paid to see. And what they paid to see is for these teams to come out and play basketball competitively, despite who you are. And I think that's, kind of what you were saying was, they wasn't really playing nobody, but it's like, all right, if you don't want to play, you don't want to play. Like, we want to get the teams who want to play. We're going to give you an initiative to play. And and as we talk about all these conversations, is who at the top, the best player, the best teams in the NBA. Those teams are looking for every opportunity to establish themselves as the best team. We talk about going back to that old fashioned style basketball. You get every team, every game was trying to establish every player. You talk about your Jordans, you talk about your Shaqs, your Kobe's. They was trying to establish who they was every game, anytime they stepped on the court. So for me, I look at it as like, okay, yeah, it might have just been like a little, people who had mixed emotions, had mixed feelings. Do I want to play? Do I want to play? Who knows? Is it a fraud banner? Is it not a fraud banner? I think more than anything, it just shows that a lot of these players and a lot of these teams are looking to take the easy way out. They're looking to not take accountability and not step up to the plate to show that you are an actual GOAT debate. You're an actual competitor. You're a great basketball player. And maybe I say that to get LeBron a little few more brownie points, but I'm going to give it to him because I think one thing that's always used against him in his time there at the Lakers is that he doesn't have that dog mentality. When it's on the line, when it's that championship on the line, or it's that whatever the test is that's against him, he doesn't step up to the plate. He stepped up to the plate. Piggybacking off what Vic said earlier, they really just downgrading it because they don't want to get LeBron the accolade, and it's fine. It's like we all, it's conversation right now, but we really not gonna give credit. It's not really a talk until he's gone. It won't really be a talk. We gonna discredit the in-season tournament until it's like, Damn, LeBron won that. The first year they had it. And look how many do. You got the Denver Nuggets coming off a ring where they smoked everybody. Why was you not able to do that? It should be a cakewalk for you. But I think it shows like, okay, yeah, when you get to the NBA Finals, you get to the playoffs, it's a different game. You gotta bring a different type of motivation.
It's not like a 7-game series. It's one and done.
Yeah, it's one and done.
And it's the NBA. You never know who's gonna win, and it's one and done. That's the reason why it's supposed to be interesting.
Interesting, right. Yeah.
But okay, what I'll say is, first off, anybody that's saying that Kobe would be rolling his eyes or rolling in his grave or whatever. He is going crazy.
That's my point.
The first thing he would have asked was,
"What my ring?
Is this a championship?"
Yeah, what my ring?
Oh, okay. I guarantee
you.
Was it a
ring?
No, they got.
So they did medals.
Yeah.
They did medals, but it's a trophy. It's a trophy. You think Kobe care about rings? Kobe care about championships.
He cared about winning. I said,
it was very different. You want to know why it's very different? It's because of the fact that a conference championship or a conference winner, that doesn't make sense because you don't get nothing from winning a conference championship. You don't get a trophy.
You don't get money.
Some teams do a banner.
They do rings or trophies.
They do a Eastern Conference
weird looking trophy.
You have to do it for Eastern or Western Conference championships. Yes, there's a trophy. Outside of that, there's no trophy. So if they win this, at one point in time it was called the Southwest. I think it's still called the Southwest, some division or something like that. A lot of teams raise banners for Southwest division. The Lakers don't. That's different. If it says champion, I think Kobe Bryant says, "Hey," just like he said A for the Olympics, just like he said A for FIBA.
I mean, Olympics that's a world.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's a medal, ain't a trophy.
Man,
so to me, he talking about winning a tournament. That's what he's talking about, and that's what he cares about. If it was a tournament mid-season, but off of that point, off of the Kobe point, the NBA has been trying to implement a lot of soccer, and a lot of people don't realize that this tournament is actually in soccer. Mm-hmm. In soccer, they normally have 3 championships in the middle of the season, and one of the championships, I believe, I could be wrong, but one of the championships, there's not actually even a championship game.
They just playing.
It's based off of wins and points, and then they also have a in-season tournament where in the middle of the season that you can win a championship, very similar to style to this. Now, the only thing I will say is the NBA kind of messed up, just like college football, which I'll say is doing just basically focusing on the branches being 4 teams. Mm-hmm. They need to stop doing that.
Yeah,
college football needs to stop, and the NBA needs to stop making it 4 teams. If you're gonna do this tournament thing, make it an actual tournament. Put your best 8 on both sides. This would have been more entertaining if you could be ranked anywhere. So instead of an East versus West team, it would have made better sense if West could have played West, because it would have been better to see the Suns. Yeah. It would have been better to see somebody else with not saying that Indiana wasn't a good team to go against. They are good and they are performing well and they deserve to be there because they beat every team they needed to beat. They beat the Boston Celtics. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks. If anything, the Lakers should have been disappointed because it's like, now y'all making us look fraudulent because y'all didn't want to beat the Indiana Pacers.
For real.
Come on, Jason Tatum and Giannis and Dame. Like, y'all, if you beat them, then this actually looks like a competitive thing.
Any competitor,
but instead, it looks like it's fraudulent. It looks Mickey Mouse because of the fact that we just beat the Indiana Pacers, and everybody gonna say, "Why was y'all playing the Indiana Pacers?" Yeah. So it's like, to me, it's like, if the other teams show up, but this has been the majority of LeBron's career, is that every opportunity I get to show up, the other niggas that's supposed to show up don't show up. Like, dang. And then don't let me not come through.
Listen, don't let the Lakers lose that game, because as much as they talk about it's a fake banner, fraud banner, don't let him lose, because they gonna hit that man. But
to me, it's smart, because the future of this tournament looks good if LeBron James is the inaugural winner. If the Lakers of all franchises is the inaugural winner. So we have to push this money. We have to push this banner as the NBA. Not even necessarily as the Lakers. We have to push this banner because we're going to make this a thing. We have to. Because if you don't make it a thing, eventually your fans and the players are going to look at this like this is stupid. Now I guarantee you, come next year, there's gonna be some teams that's gonna be a little more serious about it. There's gonna be some teams that's gonna be like, dang, like, and we was talking about the Bulls. I think the Bulls is gonna be one of those teams that's gonna be like, yo, we can show our presence early in the season if we do good in this tournament.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that the initial year of anything, you generally like the extended playoff.
Yeah.
Taking it to a play-in, like now it almost feels normal. Like we expect, like, okay, well, maybe we can sneak in. Maybe I just said maybe the Grizzlies can sneak in at 10 or 9 or something like that. Like it's normal now.
And they've done it in the past.
Right. And that's why I'm thinking that maybe this first year with them putting it out there and everybody getting used to it and trying to say, okay, is this legit or not? Like how does it look if they play all losing teams or bad record teams or something like that? But my question, and then we can move to NFL news. My question to you guys is, how valid is it if Orlando Magic wins it? Like how the buzz behind it? Like, do we feel like we'll still be talking about it? Like one of those teams.
I think if the Magic's win, they're a team to watch. I'm not going to say that they're an elite team just because it is a single game elimination, as we said, and anybody can win. So I think they the team that came the best. But I mean, it's just a shadow of what a playoff game is. It's a game at a time. If I beat you today, I beat you today. If I beat you the next day, I beat you next. So I don't think I would discredit it. It may not be a trending topic because it's like. It's the freaking Orlando Magic, but it's like when the Orlando Magic come out and start making a tear, it's like, okay, they did win the in-season tournament, as we were just referencing the Bulls using that as a staple to be they insert into this conversation as being a dominant team. That's what it is. So it can be used as like, okay, you're up and coming team, or it could be used as, okay, no, this is a dominant team that we expected to win. And I feel like it's just depending on I'm not going to discredit, what it is that them players done went out there and did.
Yeah, I think. So the thing is, technically, the way it's designed is technically a luck of the draw.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very much could have been an Orlando Magic.
Yeah,
they very much could have been Indiana Pacers, who's good, but nobody considered them one of the best teams in the league. So it's very much a luck of the draw. I think that like you said, you may not have this debate or argument or trending topic or whatever. But at the same time, if you do it and Orlando Magic win, that makes every team next year be like, man, we could have won.
Man, we could have
won that.
Even for the money.
And even for man, that's $500,000 that could have been in my pocket. That's a vacation. That's a house. That's a whatever. Blah blah blah. So to me, I think that still puts a little heat underneath people. And then at that, I think like not a lot of teams. But I honestly believe Milwaukee and the Lakers both seem like teams that really wanted to win this.
They did.
They really wanted to win this. And I didn't see that in a lot of the games I watched, where it never seemed like a sense of urgency from any of the players, which is something that they're trying to create. They're trying to create the sense of urgency early in the year so then they can get people to watch. Because I ain't gonna lie, I'm subject to it too. If it ain't the Bulls, most of the time I'm not watching the game.
Bulls or Lakers,
until maybe a week or two before All-Star break. Some trades start happening. Then I'm like, okay.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, right after the NFL
Super Bowl. That's when I really start locking in on
and it makes it tough because technically, like towards this time of the year, the NFL go from, which is really bogus if you think about it. They go from doing two games
to taking every day.
Yeah, just like now it's 4 days a week where I'm doing NFL, and it's like, man, you really stepping on the toes of the NBA, and it's like, dang, they not even on TNT on Thursdays until they done with doing Thursday.
Yeah.
They're not even trying to compete with them because they know, like, man, nobody want to watch this. So you have to reel in your audience somehow, and this is a good way. But I will say, the only way for sure that the Lakers banner will get fraudulent is if they stop doing the in-season tournament.
Ooh, yeah.
You got to commit.
Yeah,
you got to commit.
But they got to commit.
But I do. I'm sorry. But I do feel like, and you probably was about to say this too, I feel like this was the best case scenario for one of the most the most popular franchise in history with the most popular player, the GOAT of this generation era. We can argue that left and right. if he's the GOAT of all time. But he's 1A, 1B, 1C with Kobe and Jordan with me anyway. So you don't really get an argument from me. I think they all GOATs. But I think this was the best case scenario that the Lakers won, one of the most popular franchise, the money franchise won. And it does, like you all said, give some validity for next year where teams are like, well, we want to beat the Lakers. We don't want them to be the back-to-back championships.
Yeah.
So all those things. So I do agree. Y'all lighten my eyes with those arguments and those points. Those were great points. So I'll go ahead and move into the NFL news. And we're going to start with our hometown Chicago Bears. We'll usually start every episode where we talk about NBA, Chicago first, NFL, Chicago first, etc. So we'll start on the topic of Bears players defending Justin Fields. And I'll just give a brief description. Over the last week, there's been several players that's been coming to the defense of Justin Fields as the future, the franchise QB1. You know, they don't see anybody else, don't care about anybody else. It's what's in the locker room, and that's it. That is because a lot of the media are doing all of these mock drafts and mocks of Caleb Williams, Drake Mays, whoever's in the quarterback, the Knicks, the Jaden Daniels just declared for the draft and things like that, or players like that. And so everybody's ready to move on. Twitter's ready to move on at a decent percent. And the players are like, we're tired of hearing it. We're tired of getting these questions. We're tired of the media in our press conferences asking about other players when we got a QB that we believe in the locker room right now. So what have you taken, Vic, from some of the players' defenses, and how do you feel this may play out?
It's about damn time. Because in reality, and this is something that this is not just Chicago Bears, this is a Chicago sports thing, where in reality, the media has made up their mind about certain things, and they force it down the throats of not only their audience, but the players. Because since it's their topic, they're going to continue to bring it to players. It's about time that the Bears, or as an organization, or players inside the organization, has finally said, okay, we're going to stop this. We're going to stop this. Because this has been happening forever. This has been happening as long as I've been alive. Every controversial moment, the media has ran with it, and nobody in the organization has ever said anything differently. I get it. They old school. They like to keep things in-house, which a lot of times that helps. But a lot of times it doesn't keep in check the media and the fans. So it's like, man, are you surprised that they are saying, hey, he's good? We're good here. Let us just build what we got. Like, that's not surprising since they have shown so many good things, since he has shown so many good things. Now, yeah, has it been perfect? No. I can't say any quarterback in the league has been perfect. I can't say any quarterback in the league has just made every perfect decision. So I could say, like, hey, I know that he was getting a lot of criticism for the last game, saying some people were saying, oh, he lost the game. And I was like, hey, and I said this on the show last week, actually. The Bears have a habit of putting Justin Fields in a tight spot in the last minute. My score might have been off last week, but my prediction was exactly on point. Was that they was going to get a nice little going, and it was going to get close, and he was going to have to make a play. He was going to feel like he had to make a play, and something was going to go wrong. And that happens. Now, as a team, you have to figure out, how can we correct that? How can we stop that from continuing to happen? How can we take a load off of his shoulders? Hey, I know one way. We didn't do it in the game, but I can go in this locker room. I can go in this locker room and say, yo.
Yeah, but I feel like kind of what you had started off with was the team ain't said nothing. The organization has yet to assert and address anything of this conversational trend questioning Justin Fields, which, okay, if I was to think, okay, you want to play this as a way to keep, your aggression and keep your dominance of having that first pick and maybe using it for a quarterback. And you could use that first pick as trade value. If you don't want to go out there and make that public statement, so now teams are not worried about you because they're like, oh, you're not going to take a quarterback. Okay. But I say in the sense of you right now, the Bears are needing to create a morale and a regimen and a culture in that locker room that they haven't had in how long? You need to you need to find a guy and I said this in the last podcast, you need a leader in the locker room. Who's the leader of the Chicago Bears now? I mean, because not only does the media question Justin Fields, but they question Eberflus, they question Getsy, they even question Poles. And last year, we was looking at Poles like he was a mastermind after we got DJ Moore and a couple trades. They even questioning Poles now. So, okay, what is it that I don't want to say we want because I don't want to include myself with the media of Chicago. But I want to more steer towards the blindness of the fans who are so eager to hop on what it is they speaking in these conversations as it's true. The dude has come in and he's performed and he's progressed in the best way I think a quarterback could. With being in the predicament that he's been in, when you let's really think about it. His first 2 years in Chicago, who did he have to work with? Last year without DJ Moore, I saw a thing they was questioning his progression to the third year, and they're like, Joe Burrow was able to make this jump into his third year. Jalen Hurts was able to make this jump. Pat Mahomes was able to make this jump. So in his third year, he hasn't made a big jump from his second to third year. But damn, look at the jump he made from his first to second year with nothing. Wait, look at the jump he made from his first to second year with nothing. Okay, yes, he does have better options now at this point, but let him work it. Honestly, I think the job is harder when you have the help that you need to figure out how to use rather than when it's just like you. Like, if I don't got to rely on you to do a job, it may be a lot of work for me, but I know I'm going to get the job done how I need to get it done, how I want to get a job done. But now when I got to work with you, Unc, I'm like, damn, is Unc going to do it like that, or is he going to do it like this? Should I do it like that, or should I do it? I'm questioning myself. I'm a little so now I got to get used to you a little more. I got to build some chemistry. Like, no, Unc like this, Vic like this. He worked like this. So now I know. All right, so it's not going to be a big jump from year 2 to year 3 because it's still a developmental year for me. And it's a tougher developmental year because I'm actually having to include other people into the job that I'm doing. Now that I'm actually having to include people into the job that I'm doing and I can develop with these weapons and progress, the sky is the limit. You see what he made from year 1 to year 2. Now with the weapons, I want to see what he going to do from year 3 to year 4.
Yeah.
Like, that's the jump.
That you named those players, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, like those are all players that they know they got a job. Nobody questioned Nobody questioned should they be here or not. Justin Fields has been getting questions since he got drafted. As soon as he got drafted, they were like, "Well, we didn't really want him. We didn't really want him, but he was there." So he said,
he was there, but you had the first pick,
we had Andy Dalton playing, and we still was saying, we're not sure. Andy Dalton gone. Justin Fields is playing now. Still saying. So now 3 years later, still saying the same thing. So it was like those players, Jalen Hurts, even though Jalen Hurts was getting trade talks and stuff like that earlier on, in reality, they've still forged that offense to fit around his play style, and they have never actually committed to Justin Fields ever.
And Philly never swayed from that. They knew that they
once it started working, it was like, oh, this is our guy.
Yeah.
And I agree with all of y'all points. I think a lot of it, when you compare it to the Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts situation, one thing about their situation is they constantly improve the team every year to evaluate the players. Now, Joe Burrow was supposed to be generational, which he's played that way, and Jalen Hurts was a second-round pick, so that they're a little different. But yet, they went out and got Joe Burrow's favorite receiver from college, and they constantly built upon that offense as well as that defense in Cincinnati. Then they went to the Super Bowl. Then Jalen Hurts, he came in to a top-notch offensive line. Yeah. Jason Kelsey still there. Lane Johnson still there. They had Dallas Goedert Myles Garrett. Then they drafted Devontae Smith, which Alabama ties.
Yeah.
And then you get to his third year and they make it to the Super Bowl, but they added A.J. Brown. So they were actually questioning Jalen Hurts that second year still up until the end.
Mm-hmm. And he had a great team.
Let's see. Exactly. And they had a great team.
It only took about half that season before they started saying, all right, this our guy.
Right.
But they also put him in a situation where he could be that guy.
And that
Justin Fields has never been put in a situation where he could be the guy. You never formed the offense. You can go down a long list of the best quarterbacks in the league, and all of them have had similar situations. The only person that may be slightly different is Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson had an established coach already. John Harbaugh had been there, done that, like Super Bowl champion, stuff like that. You look at that offense, it don't look nothing like how Joe Flacco was there.
Right.
No.
And that's kind of where I was going, where you look at Justin Fields' situation. I compared it to Lamar Jackson's situation too, because he hasn't had like stellar receivers over his first few years. Odell Beckham now, but he's at the end of his career pretty much. He's still performing here and there, but he's hit or miss. He's always had Mark Andrews, but he hasn't had any real dominant wide receivers, and he's had to deal with 2-3 pieces in his run game. So he's done a lot with a little, but he's had a powerful defense. He's had the same coach. He's had the coach that believed in him, even when Greg Roman was his offensive coordinator. They rebuilt the offense to him, and they never asked him to do anything else. They probably have added more passing into the offense over the last 2 years, but they still kept it to him running the ball, him getting comfortable, short throws, depending on Andrews to get it down the field and stuff. But with Justin Fields, as we said, with Joe Burrow, Hurts, them getting all the pieces that they want and need, Justin Fields came out of that first year with Allen Robinson, who was in Mooney coming up, Komet coming up, and so Robinson not seeing the targets that he wanted to get. Then in the second year, you completely strip his roster. Like, that's the thing that's not ever comparable. You can't compare that to anybody. Them going a franchise quarterback going into their second year with a new coach, rookie coaches on both sides of the ball, defense, offense, and coach. So the head coach and the two coordinators are all rookies and first timers. The GM is a first timer, and the GM says, you know what, dog, hold on for a year. Give me a year. Go out there and play. We're not going to draft another quarterback, but we're not going to draft no real help for you. Our first 2 picks are going to be defense. We just letting you know right now. And we're not sure they're going to be hitters because they not like, well, no, not very many people were privy to Gordon and Brisker at the time. Like, real diehard college fans like us, but I think a lot of the fans were like, why are these guys so special? Why didn't we go for Pickens, et cetera, et cetera? And so now he gets some help this year. To me, this is his second year. And to me, this year, he did improve over because I had a stat on our last episode where over the last 17 games, he's improved dramatically as a passer, and he's toned down the running. So it doesn't always look good or always look consistent like the Minnesota game or the Cleveland game. But even Kurt Warner came to his defense on 6-7 to score, and he said, well, who's going to survive in a pressure situation like that? They get at him between 50 to 70% pressure rate. And that defensive line tore up the offensive line. Plus, they were playing in rainy conditions, and he missed some throws. There's some things that he's got to improve on, his progressions or his timing with progression, because he's really deliberate. Like, he's very calm. And what people don't remember or don't realize is that he's taken a lot of, he's doing these calming things to calm us. That's why he's gradually coming out his drop slow, because he's trying to be calm and not erratic with his feet. So he's doing, like, when you see him before the game, I always say he looked just like you and Wani. You know what I'm saying? If y'all really look at Juju and my nephew Juju and Wani, they look just like Fields when he has a calm face. Like, he's always before the play. Like, look at him this Sunday. Go look at Justin Fields, or the next Sunday, whenever you all see this, Justin Fields is very calm. Like, he's not rushed. He's not really, unless the pocket collapses, and then he's got to get out of there. But to you guys' points, like, they're defending him because they see what's going on in the building. Even I think even Pose sees that and sees that we didn't give him what he really needed last year. And so this year we gave it to him. We see some improvement. He's gonna hold out, like you said. I'm not gonna tell y'all what I'm gonna do and reveal my poker face, so y'all know what we're gonna do with the first or the fifth pick. Either one can devalue if you reveal your hand. But then I think fans are big FOMO people, fear of missing out. They're so scared of, oh, Caleb, he's going to be the generation. He's generational, or Maze. What if? It's always the grass is greener on the other side. And these kids haven't even gotten to the league yet. So it's like, we see him improving. We see him taking DJ Moore. He's already got 3 records, or helped DJ Moore to 3 personal records. The 230-yard game versus Washington was his most ever.
Career high.
His 3 touchdowns that game was his most ever. He's just recently versus Detroit, he had the 11 receptions, which was the most ever the first game. And then he's 70 yards from 1193 with 3 games left. And 1193 is his career high. So he'll have 4 records by the end of the year. Why not add him another weapon? Because Cole Kmet is well on his way to records himself, because he's been balling, and that's really his secondary receiver. Just like people look at Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews, they don't say, well, Lamar or Patrick Williams don't look at their Patrick Mahomes, I'm sorry, we was talking about the Bulls. They don't look at them and say, well, why do they look at their tight end as their second or primary? It's like, tight ends exist too. They get out there to pass. So to not be long-winded and kind of cut it down, I just feel like fans are looking at FOMO. The media is also looking at FOMO with and the clickbait that FOMO provides, because we haven't had a true franchise quarterback that we can hang a hat on.
That's all I was going to say. It was like, in reality, I can understand to a certain extent why people have that grass is green on, because the Bears have kind of been on the bad ends of for a long time. It was like, yo, the Bears could have got this dude. Dang.
But we see that we're not good in the draft market. So why would we resort back to the draft market to be our savior?
I think because of the fact that in reality, the free agency hasn't necessarily worked out for the Bears either.
Who have we ever got from free agents? A quarterback.
I was saying a quarterback.
And Cordell Stewart.
Yeah, Andy Dalton. No, that's what I was saying. So in reality, if you really think about the history of the Bears, we keep, every time there is a slight opportunity to get that guy, the Bears never take it. So I can see, after decades and decades of frustration, why somebody would be like, hey, it would be real nice if we could just take this guy. Now, like I said, I don't naturally think that, those guys are going to be better than Justin Fields, but I can understand to a certain extent of why.
Of just the question.
Because it's like, we've skipped over a lot of people over the years. Like I said, we talked about briefly last week. Yeah, we got Gordon Bresker. Would George Pickens have hurt? It ain't like he's getting a whole lot of, he's good. I've seen him make some crazy catches on some really bad passes from Pickett. Imagine if he would have got him from Justin Fields. So I can understand to a certain extent. There's almost like a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, Chicago is like Philly. There's really no pleasing everybody.
Yeah.
There's no pleasing everybody. There's always going to be an opposite opinion. That's just naturally how the Bears fans are. But then that's naturally how the organization is, where almost like sometimes the organization acts like the right guy follow us. And sometimes it's like, man, some of these teams was being aggressive. Look at the Rams. When they won their Super Bowl, they traded away every pick they had. But they got that Super Bowl. And I think sometimes as Bears fans or just fans of any organization,
we act.
It's almost like, man, we are a major city. There's no reason why we shouldn't be in the same conversation as a LA or something like that. There's no reason why the Chicago Bears should be on Lake Michigan playing with no dome. There's a lot of things that it's like as an organization that it's like I could see why the frustration would be there. I can see why.
We mad as fans.
Yeah,
we just mad about everything.
I think that's really what it boils down to. Really is that the Bears fans are just mad, and it just so happens to be the Justin Fields and draft picks this time around. Okay. It just so happens to be.
Yeah. And I don't want to cut you off. And basically, what I just want to kind of capitalize on, because I feel like we didn't touch every topic really when it touched the Justin Fields situation with the Chicago Bears. But I'd love to bring up the quarterback situation in NFL. What quarterback is really separating themselves from the pack that's like, that's what we need? Like, we're looking at Drake May and Caleb Williams to be this generational quarterback, but how many generational quarterbacks did we say we had in the NFL right now? And Brock Purdy is the best top. Brock Purdy, number 2 is Tua. A year ago, they was talking about trading Tua. They was talking about how Miami Dolphins need to get rid of. But what did Miami go do? They said, we finna go get you some targets. Finna go get you a line. Finna go get you some running backs. Man, Miami Dolphins is tearing the field up. Brock Purdy in San Fran, they was talking about it this year with Brock Purdy. Why would you question trading away a quarterback, giving up a quarterback who's the top quarterback in the NFL right now? So more than anything, I say I look at it like I'm steering from what the media is saying, because I feel like we have this instant gratification of the Los Angeles Rams, where we're like, let's go ahead and let's ship everything. The Bears could go and ship all of our trades, and we could probably get a roster that's crazy. We could probably get an elite roster that take us to the Super Bowl next year, and we could win the Super Bowl next year. And you want to know what's going to happen after that year? We're going to look just like the Rams, and we're going to be last year down in the bowl, trying to figure out how we could dig ourselves out. How you come from being a Super Bowl caliber, Super Bowl winning team to you talking about if you're going to clear out your roster. Are we going to clear out a DJ Moore? We're going to clear out a Cole Kmet? That doesn't make sense. That seems like we're degressing rather than transgressing. Right. Like, no, let's stay in the path that we have, because we're creating a team that can last, a team that can continue to compete in these playoffs. Even if you look at the not the Patriots, the Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. They created, even in a sense, just think of how big of a deal it was for Tyreek leaving that team and them not having another receiver that they built up. That's why they had to try to go get him a Cole Hardman. Like, let's see if we could go get a vet who was here with us before to come in and do, what we need him to do. It's like, no, you can't always look to the draft. You can't always look to the free agency. You need to build a team at a point in time. You got to surround with a leader who can go out and dominate the field, a Pat Mahomes. But you got to give him that. Yeah. Pat Mahomes, he gonna do what he do, but Pat Mahomes ain't gonna be able to be the GOAT debate. Pat Mahomes, if he ain't got nothing to work with.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, well said, guys. So we're gonna we've been speaking of other quarterbacks who got their chances, they got their opportunities, they continuously build the teams for them. That's what Justin Fields wasn't going to get. So one of those quarterbacks that we talked about is Vic's favorite team's quarterback. We're going to talk about Philly and their current slump that they're in. Hurts has not been playing very well, or at least not as well as he has at the peak over the last 2 years since he's gotten A.J. Brown and the weapons and all this MVP talk. He's very turnover prone lately. I seen a video, I don't know if you all seen it, where they're working on him falling with the ball in his hand in practice, which I seen as disrespectful as hell, because he's he brought your team to the Super Bowl, but now you got these gimmicky, these Jameis Winston looking ass, like what he's doing this and getting slapped with the ball, but now he's falling and they ripping the ball. It's some stupid shit to me. But Vic, I'm gonna let you take this over. Let us know what your thoughts on this team, and talk to the fans, talk to the followers, talk to Philly and the rest of the league's fans, and tell us, should we worry or are we just capping.
So initially, I was like, nah, not worried. Not worried, not even a little bit. You want to know why? Because first off, the pass rush is killer. Pass rush is killer. You got AJ Brown. You got a stud team. Let's be real. The Philadelphia Eagles ain't a whole lot of teams suited like them unless you buy them like San Francisco or keep trading all your second round draft picks for 30 people. How many second round draft picks the San Francisco 49ers got? I didn't need to know because they didn't trade every single one of them for the next 25 years. So just no second round picks. But outside of that, I'm not really worried because granted, outside of San Francisco, I don't see a whole lot of NFC teams coming to beating them. If San Francisco win, I'm gonna just say they bought it. I'm gonna say they bought it. You got Randy Gregory over there. You got
Young.
Yeah, Chase Young over there. You went and got Christian McCaffrey last year. You was already good.
Yeah, before
you was already good, and then all of a sudden you gave every pick in the world away to get the rest of these guys. You know, so that's the only team that concerns me. Now, I will say when it comes to the turnover talk, though, they may have a point. Because if you really look at that Super Bowl, when they made it to the Super Bowl, that run, that MVP run he had, he didn't turn over the ball very much. He didn't throw a lot of interceptions. I think he was like very low on interceptions, and he didn't fumble the ball. But since then, he's fumbled the ball quite a bit. And it's kind of started since the Super Bowl. If people made that argument that in reality, they probably don't lose if he don't fumble that ball when he just loses it. And since that day, he's kind of had a problem with keeping ball control. And that was the thing that made Philadelphia good that first season. It's because they didn't turn over the ball. So you talking about I can move the ball downfield because I can throw it to AJ Brown, I can throw it to Devontae. You know, last year was a mix with Miles Sanders and company, but now you got Swift, who has been great.
Yeah.
So in reality, a lot of the losses do kind of look like if it's not as many turnovers, you probably don't lose as many games. So I don't know if I consider that real fear. You know, I'm not super concerned. I think it is a slump that happens with athletes a lot. You know, sometimes when something starts happening, you just can't get it to stop happening. Fumbles, you know, interceptions. Sometimes it's just like a code. It's eventually you just gotta kind of slip it. So I think he will slip it, but I'm not necessarily concerned with the path. Because let's be real. I'm sorry I know you're wearing Dallas. I know you're not a fan, but
this is true.
Dallas is just going to Dallas.
Yeah, they're going to Dallas.
They're going to Dallas it up.
They always do.
Dak is going to Dak. Who's kind of inherited Tony Romo's spirit. He plays great all the way up until you really need him to. Let's see how December and January goes for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. But that's outside of the Cowboys, the rest of the NFC East is kind of like just hanging on by dear life. The Bears can make it.
Yeah,
the Bears can make it to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, not to the Super Bowl, but the playoffs. They can make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, they can make it to the playoffs.
They only a game outside of the playoffs, so it's like
with Green Bay. Yeah.
So imagine the Eagles got to go against Green Bay first week. They got to go against the Bears first week, or anybody else. I mean, what that whole South division, the Broncos, Falcons, they piss poor. So in reality, you got really just three teams that's really competing for the NFC, and I don't know if I trust Dallas. So I don't know. I don't trust Dallas. So I'm not concerned, not yet. The only thing I'm concerned about is somebody needs to make a rule about trading second round draft picks.
And I don't trust Dallas. And I mean, San Fran has definitely shown themselves to be, the leader of the pack. But kind of in the sense of Philly, they make me question because they have a lot of these close games. So do they pull out those close games and they win? But do you want to go into the playoffs with this being that your game style, you really hoping to pull these games out in the fourth quarter? Because that could be a game that you lose. And I think even though the NFC may not have as good of teams, I think they have very hard, teams. The Vikings, I don't think the Vikings is a team that could do much in the playoffs. But what I want to see the Vikings in the playoffs, that's not really a preferred matchup. So I'm not going to make it seem like they have easy games or, they're going to be able to sweep through. I think they have games that's really going to test and question Jalen Hurts and his ability and question his turnover rate. Question if he's still that quarterback that he was a year ago. Question if he's the guy or if this is the team that they can keep to establish as they go on. Because to me, as a quarterback, you got A.J. Brown, and I think A.J. Brown has probably been very unproductive this year out of any year of his career, in the sense that A.J. Brown could snap for 150-yard game. But I've seen A.J. Brown go a game and the dude don't even got 25 yards, which is like, okay, yeah, they might have a lineup, a scheme to line up and put pressure on A.J. Brown, but Hurts, if it's not working for you or your team needs to find a way to get the ball into the hands of the best player on your team. And I feel like he struggles, or they struggle. I don't want to put it on Hurts, but I feel like they struggle to do that. When you get to them playoff rounds, you need those, those players in those situations where it's like, okay, it's not working here. Let's go here. Let's give it to him because we need a point. We need to score.
I'm about to get some hate. From Eagles fans real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
AJ Brown don't really come off breaks really.
I don't think he's that. I mean, I'm gonna let you go.
He don't necessarily come off breaks that good. I think he has a bigger body. He's a faster tight end to me, so he gets good things coming across the middle and stuff like that. But in reality, AJ Brown is not necessarily a blast off the line kind of guy. So since he's not, that takes time.
Yeah,
and that's time that Jalen Hurts he's hurt. Like, people not talking about the fact that he hurt his knee and he hasn't been running the ball, and that's been slightly the reason why they haven't been moving the ball down the field, because that takes a big part, because he can extend those plays, and normally those plays he extend is the plays that AJ Brown ends up getting the ball open across the middle of the field and it makes a break for it. But since I can't take that extra time and give him couple extra seconds, that means less time for him to get off that break, and that's not good. That's the reason why Devontae Smith has been getting the ball a lot more, because he comes off the breaks really good. And not only that, he'll play the slot, but he'll also play the wide out. And so it's like, hey, we putting this extra coverage on this other side of the field for AJ Brown, but now Devontae Smith snaps off.
Yeah, I kind of see it as, me personally, I agree. I don't really see anybody but San Francisco being a threat. Maybe Detroit, if they get their stuff together, might be a somewhat of a threat. I don't see them doing much in the playoffs, but I feel like they could be sneaky and get somebody if they get the right matchup. But I feel like San Francisco is Philly's only real threat. But that was the thing I was going to ask you, but you caught it. I think Jalen Hurts being hurt is affecting a lot of the offensive rhythm and momentum. He can't run, so he can't really get the RPOs, the play action thing going or be a threat. So they're able to kind of, sit back on the wide receivers. I think last year they caught everybody off guard with the combo of Smith and AJ Brown. I think Goddard's been out too, so that they're missing their third threat out there, over the middle, where Jalen Hurts eats pretty well at over the middle with Dallas Goedert, especially when he had Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz, the combo his first year. So I feel like it's a slump. I think their defense needs to step up. Their defense hasn't, especially their back end. The defensive line maybe is all right, but their back end
in a year.
Yeah,
for their defense, a lot has changed.
That's really what
you think about just perfect example. T.J. Edwards came over here.
Mm-hmm.
He was our middle. Our middle. You know, C.J. Gardner-Johnson left, and he was averaging.
Hargrave in San Francisco.
Yeah, so it's they lost quite a bit. Now they didn't lose on the front line. That front line is good, but also that front line on the defense is getting older.
Yep.
Now the young guys,
when they got Carter.
Yeah, the young guys are starting to slowly get in, but at the same time, it's like, in reality, outside of Redick, all your guys is coming from the middle. Mm-hmm. So that's you need somebody on that opposite edge, and Brandon Graham not necessarily doing it on the opposite edge like he was last year. So it's kind of a lot of mixes, a lot of changes, but this is the reason why it's very difficult to double back to the Super Bowl. The reason why a lot of times end up being a leap year for some teams. You look at the Chiefs had a leap year. So to me, I'm not even mad. Like I said, I almost kind of feel like San Francisco didn't bought their Super Bowl. So it's like I
give it to them already. At this point. I just give it to them.
But I ain't gonna give it to them because it's like, hey, we still right there. But at the same time, it's like if they do lose, I'm like, you guys bought it with second round picks, and I'm not happy about it.
So, quick question before we move on to our last topic of the night, which should be our best, the most entertaining, to be honest, because this, when I seen the tweet, it had me dying laughing. I'm like, oh God, here go this bullshit. But my last question in regards to Philly, we don't have a fear that they're not going to make it, at least. Like, how far do you think they're going? I feel like they're going through a Super Bowl hangover, but I do feel like they can still make it to another Super Bowl. How are you feeling, Vic?
I think they can make it to another Super Bowl. I for sure, I would say if it's not the conference championship, then that makes me nervous because it'd be like, all right, something went really wrong. You know, granted, I know going against division teams is very, iffy. I know there's a good chance that they'll end up hitting Dallas. If it ain't Dallas and it ain't San Francisco, you shouldn't lose as Philly. You shouldn't lose. It could be the Lions. It could be the Vikings, who Broncos, Falcons. I don't care who. Any of those teams you lose against, you have a problem on your hands.
Sleep on the Lions though. They a threat.
But 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be playing the Lions in Philly, and we know how Goff. Goff plays in the code. He does not play hot, and not only that, but Goff is just naturally just an inconsistent guy. Let's be real. Like if you got to depend on him come playoff time, you're probably gonna
already in the world of hurt.
Yeah, you're probably gonna.
You could be.
And the Lions defense. Don't get me wrong, the pass rush is good, but outside of that pass rush, they don't got a good thing going. And I don't think, not saying the pass rush is not going to do good against the Eagles, but they shouldn't do that good. We got the best line in the league. Like they only going to be able to do so much. So Lions, I'm sorry, you just don't make the cut. But like I said, Dallas and San Francisco, it looks a little different because Dallas. I mean, you see these guys all the time, and the one day. It always happens like that for the NFC East. I don't know if you ever really pay attention to the actual in-conference records. It's never like somebody just
like
4-0 against. No, it never really happens like that. Normally, they all end up splitting.
Yeah, it's close.
The Eagles has lost to the Commanders like this year once, and they split last year. And they're not that that good, but at the same time. This is just how the NFC East is. It's like how it is in a lot of conferences.
Yeah, NFC in general.
Yeah, and when you see these guys every so often, like eventually, we kind of know what you got going, what you don't got going. Yeah. This is gonna be kind of like a luck of the draw kind of thing. Somebody gonna have to just wake up feeling good, But
that's why I say when I said earlier, like I don't know if I'm Philly, if I want to let it get to a situation where I'm trying to pull out a game in the fourth quarter versus the Minnesota Vikings because this isn't the best situation in a conference or a divisional game where it's like, no, this team has seen me a few times, so I'm the better team. But
you can't slack up. I'll say that the Eagles can't raise themselves up and thinking that they got it. But I think that's also the good part of the reason why they're going through this slump right now. It's because they're going through this slump right now. guarantee you before the playoffs start, they either gonna have it all the way off, or it's gonna be all the way on. And when they get to the playoffs, they gonna feel that. They're gonna want to show like, hey, we had a bad week. And I think a lot of people looking at that last San Francisco game, a lot of people not thinking about the fact that the Eagles have had a pretty tough schedule. For them to be playing the way they are, it's actually good. Yeah. It's like, I think the rest of the season, they actually end up having, I think from maybe 2 weeks ago to the end of the season, they had like the toughest schedule for the rest of the season. So it's like, hey, yeah, you might get your butt whooped a little bit, but you got to keep that focus. You keep that focus. You come in, like I said, it's NFC championship or bust. No divisional, no wild card. You lose there, you're going to have to start looking at some people and start saying to yourself, hey, something wrong and something got to go back to how it used to be,
So, Chew.
Yes, sir.
Quick answer. Eagles going back or no?
I really don't have an answer if they're going to go back or not. It's going to be tough, though. I think last year they were able to show that they were the better team than a lot of other teams in NFC, but I don't think I can strongly say this year that they're that much better. I think we raised good points, talk about how the defense took hits, and that was a big benefit of their progression to the Super Bowl last year because their defense was elite at that point. But I feel like since they don't have that defense anymore, they are relying a lot more on their offense, and I don't think their offense, for how many different reasons it could be, the offense isn't really playing to the standards or even to the level that they had last year with the elite defense. So you're hurt on the defensive side, you're hurt on the offensive side. Hurts is hurt. Y'all hurt. And you need to make sure you get that together before you get to the playoffs, because it's going to be a lot of close games. And you was being able to pull them out before, but teams going to remember, we're not going to let you pull this out again in the fourth quarter. We're going to challenge you. We're going to stick to our game plan. We're going to really make you have to show that you're the better team.
For sure. So I think we all are in the mindset of just get your shit together, Philly.
Yeah.
We're not Philly fans over on this side, but for nephew's sake, we're gonna say that Philly got to get their shit together. I think they can get their shit together.
They'll be all right.
I think we all believe that.
Trust in Swift. if trust in Swift. To me, it's like,
that's the wrong person with his injury history. But go ahead.
Well, to me, man, the man's running good. And you can rely on him, and the Eagles have a habit of trying to prove the doubters wrong. So they go away from the run game when it's like, this is what y'all good at. Y'all are good at.
But I feel like last year their run game was better because they had Miles Sanders.
But Miles Sanders split a lot of the carries.
Yeah, but now you giving them all to Smith, and Smith is a smaller back.
It ain't like the other dudes ain't there. They there. They don't
use him. But I'm saying you got Smith taking 85% of your touches. Yeah. That he's a smaller back. He's not an every down back. He's a great back to be used in space to send out on those routes. But I'm not about to run Devontae Smith on 18 carries a game.
Swift. I don't think you necessarily have to. You don't necessarily have to do that. But I noticed that when the Eagles really dove away, because there are games where they just like legit go Kansas City, where it's like we only about to run the ball like 10 times, and then the rest of the game we pass, and normally I notice when they try to do that, they end up losing.
Yeah, it fails. Yeah.
So that's why I say, I ain't saying like, hey, give that man 25 carries, but you got to start trusting a little more in your running back, because they get big headed. They almost tell themselves, we are a good passing team. Let's show them. Like they had a point to prove when they going into a game, and I'm hoping that they stay away from that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we're gonna get into this last topic from around the NFL. And I woke up the other day and it seemed like NFL Twitter was having a race war of sorts, if you will. I felt like Trump was back in office, and Rashard Mendenhall comes out, and I believe I have the tweet. So give me a second. Let's pull it up and we can read it. So at least we'll have that graphic pulled up. And this was his tweet. I'm sick of average white guys commenting on football. Y'all not even good at football. Can we please replace the Pro Bowl with an all black versus all white bowl so these cats can stop trying to teach me who's good at football? I'm better than your GOAT. For me, I don't like personally, that's where I was at. The whole comment in totality was bullshit to me. One, because I'm heavy on the divisive shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm all for pride in our people and being proud of black folks and what we've been through and what we do and what we accomplish on a daily basis. Just like I'm good with other races and their accomplishments, immigrants that come in the country and make a life for themselves and do well. So I don't really believe in all of that, like going through the divisive rhetoric type stuff. I guess somebody probably pissed him off in his DMs or something like that. People can be a little trollish and go over or out of pocket in your DMs with racist shit. But to me, him bringing this out, the first thing I said was, this nigga CTE is kicking in or something, because he called himself better than their GOAT. And if you really want to put a GOAT running back, if you're going running back for running back, you're talking about McCaffrey. Yeah. And you, sir, would be his third string back.
I don't know if he's better than Mike Allscott.
Right. So to me, I think you would be the third or fourth running back on San Francisco right now. But I digress. To me, the point was crazy wild. And we had these talks at the barbershop or amongst each other, you know what I'm saying, as family, you know what I'm saying? We have jokes, and we know comedians have black and white jokes all the time. Black folks do this better, white folks do this better. White folks have better credit, black folks have better swag or whatever, and that's in joking. So I was hoping this was kind of in a joke joke context, but it sounded like he got hit with one of them DMs that he was like, look, I'm tired of y'all bullshit, let's do this or whatever. And then Will Compton and JJ Watt, I believe, they got on Twitter and they had their response and they built their rosters and made it funny. And I really like that. I really like that they didn't take offense to it. They didn't go super critical or whatever, or talk down on Rashard. He might be going through something. He might have, like I said, just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, seen that DM and was like, man, this some bullshit. Let me tweet this bullshit out. And he probably regrets it. Maybe not. But I like the way they took it and they spun it. All these jokes on Twitter and TikTok videos being made with different rosters and things like that. So I'm going to send it to you guys. You guys can decide who's going to go first. But how did you feel about these comments? And would you want to see an all white versus all black bowl? And what do y'all think the rosters will look like?
I'm going to put it like this. I want to see that shit. All seriousness, I want to see that shit. I'm hoping, I'm with you, that this was just all for the fun. Like, it's a little joke. Maybe he did wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Like, hey, it could be the day he was fed up with y'all shit. He screw it. I don't agree with it. If it does come a place from harm or hate, but I agree. I like how the players took it. I like how they took it as in effect, like, I feel like a lot of times today people reach. They reach really hard for, to make themselves a victim, to make somebody seem, a situation or a narrative different than what it is, but they make it what they want it to be. So I like that as a league, ex-players and current players as a league, they was like, you know what, we're not going to make it this narrative. Because I think anybody who plays the sport of football, I mean, we didn't see transitional movies as Remember the Titans, where it's like the aspect of color on the field doesn't really matter. The aspect of color in the locker room doesn't really matter. It's like, nah, I call teammates who are of a different race my brother, because you are going through the trenches with me right now. I don't care what you look like. You here with me every day going through this, bro. We brothers. So I don't think that Mendenhall had any type of, racism towards that. And I love the fact that the NFL and those players did not make it that way. But just in the light of the tweet, I kind of want to see that matchup. I think in a sense, if you talk about viewership, you talk about money, like, damn, that's a game right there, because everybody talking about it. What would it be like? I was saying before, like, the white team, they going to have them quarterbacks going to be throwing touchdowns all damn day.
Picking you apart.
But I'm like, damn, when I think about the GOATs of, I don't even want to say the GOATs, because we talking about current NFL, but the top, team players that we have right now, I'm like, I think it'll be a good matchup. I think that'll be something fun to watch. Some creative more than anything, where you could take maybe a social matter, and even though there's dividance between that, you almost kind of, in a sense, make light of it.
Yeah.
You make light of the elephant in the room. Let's not act like it's not there.
Right.
Like, no, it's there. Let's see what we can do with it, and let's see if we can change it up. I don't think it's something that will ever happen, but I wouldn't be opposed of it if one day they was like, let's do a flag football game, something like that. They got the Pro Bowl games. Let's do an all white versus all black. You just get a captain like how the NBA do it. They NBA All-Star. Let's just pick, a team of 22, and let's see what we can do.
I guarantee you, no owner in the world is gonna. No owner in the NFL is gonna say, "Yeah, let's do that," so then they can see how much better they are than us. No, sir, we won't do that. No, they will not do that. But granted, I think the idea is funny. The idea is hilarious to think that. Man, the even funnier part is like, yo. How many white skilled players can you think of?
Really, yeah. They gonna have
think of a lot.
We ain't never seen.
That's playing right now.
Yeah, I could think of a lot, but that's just because y'all know I'm a stat person, a roster person.
To me, when I'm thinking of just skilled players, I cannot think of a lot of white skilled players that can actually fill out a roster.
They got some linebackers.
Oh yeah, hey. You got some linebackers. You got maybe what? 3 safeties, 4 safeties in the league.
You could take half of Philly offensive line. You got a good start there.
Technically they only got 2. The rest, they got 2.
You can't really have 5, but I'm just saying, like,
you
got Lane Johnson and
Kelsey. Yeah, you got Lane Johnson and Kelsey.
You got McCaffrey at running back. They got the fullbacks.
See, where I start getting stumped at corner and receiver is where I start getting stumped.
Okay, yeah.
Because in receiver, outside of Cooper Kupp, was Hunter Renfrow.
Hunter Renfrow, yeah.
After those 2, I kind of start thinking to myself, like, yeah. Because we're not dividing the mix. Technically,
I was gonna say, depending on how you take the mix.
No, actually, it's so many.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you got Puka.
No, Puka. He's a bonus. You got an Islander
from Detroit.
So technically, all right. So this is what my argument would be. Mm-hmm. My argument would be is technically there should be a tournament and there should be a mixed team.
Damn,
there should be a mixed team.
Y'all hear that?
And technically, Pacific Islanders should be in the mixed team.
Who did Samoans go to?
Yeah, they should go to the mixed team.
Yeah, who they go to? Like, where does this leave everybody else? They just watching in the stands. Like,
we need somebody to kick.
Like they don't exist.
Yeah, well, because there's not really a lot of them. It's outside of the Samoans. The rest of them is like it's like a dime a dozen. So they all go on the mixed team. Yeah, they go on the mixed team, and we do a tournament with these 3 teams, and everybody got to go against each other once. And then after they go against each other once, the best record goes to the finals. And they go.
I think that's how we do it. We do a 3-part.
Yeah, bracket. You do white, you do the blacks, you do the mixed team. Now this sucks for the white team because that means you can't bring on people like Patrick Mahomes. Now my argument says the mixed team might give us a run for our money.
Yes.
The mixed team might give us a run for our money. It might be a little nervousness because a lot of these NFL players when they had sex with white women and then had kids. Now they kids in the NFL, they mix. So same thing happened with the NBA. They do the same thing. So it's like, dang,
can't use Dak. Can't use
Can't use.
You
You got a nice little you got a nice little amount that it's like, dang.
I'm doing a racial draft and I'm taking McCaffrey. I don't care.
Yeah, I was saying, hey, see, the thing is, no, because I'm not even.
Take him.
Yeah. Now you're doing
getting old.
Now you're doing trades like Dave Chappelle thing. We would like to trade for the Wu-Tang Clan. It was like, no, you can't do that. So, but yeah, outside of all of that, the funniness of it, his real problem is the fact that white guys have been bothering him about this fumble in the Super Bowl since it happened. Since the Steelers lost the Super Bowl to the Green Bay Packers, and they would have never lost if he didn't fumble the ball, which he did.
Yeah.
No, I didn't fumble. I swear. No, you fumbled, man. We got Super HD now today. The ball moved.
Yeah, we saw the replay.
We saw the replay, pal. You lost it. You lost it. It's all right. You lost the game. Don't be mad at the white people because you lost the game.
I don't think he been on the team since, has he?
Well, I mean, that was a long time ago. But he played a little while, I want to say. But on the internet, though, he is still yet to live this down. And I know how much that probably pains him.
Yeah.
And the fact that you got to really think about it, imagine the amount of white men that go on Twitter to talk stuff to him. That's what his problem is.
Field day.
That's the reason why he's saying, yo, let's do this. Remember, the thing he says in his tweet is, average white men telling me about football. Yeah. It's because they've been telling him about how he fumbled. Sir, I'm sorry. There's only a handful of significant things that you could do in sports where people will remember it years and years later. And that's what you did.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing. That's the only thing that I see. Like, when he said average white men, but then said
because
now
NFL players, because he mad at all white men now.
Right, like asked to play them. Yeah, like say, hey, let me put a team together. All of y'all find y'all best that's out there that ain't in the NFL.
He just generalized his hate. That's all he did.
Yeah, I'm like,
you know what? All white men, forget it. All white men get on my nerves. I hate them.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, these guys are pros. There's white men that are all
who
pros.
Are elite. Yeah,
they're elite.
And so this is years later too, so they are a lot better than we were when you were playing.
Right. So you're asking if you're gonna ask or speak to the average white man or average man anything. And say, hey, let's do this. Why not make that? Yeah. How about I get all my guys, y'all get all y'all average friends, and anybody that y'all can vote down to 22, like you said, find y'all 22 average people that's your JUCOs, your people that ain't make it to the NFL, all white, and then let me get my guys that I know from the NFL or in the past or now. And then we'll see if you average players can do what we do as professionals. Yeah. It didn't make sense to me that because that's why I like that they took it and took it as a joke.
Yeah,
like,
as a joke.
Bro, like we're elite guys. Like we're in the NFL with you. What do you mean? Like if we couldn't do what you do,
I also think a decent amount of those white dudes that's making jokes about it is also thinking to themselves like we might actually lose this game. So you just make a joke. Like Will, what is his name? Will Compton. I know Will Compton probably thought to himself like, well, I can't compete with these other black guys. So I might as well just make a joke out of it.
Like his was funny. He said we got a chance. Maybe not at cornerback. He's like, who do we got? We got the Iowa guy. Wait. We don't have nobody else on the other side. He said, wait a minute. We ain't got nobody at safety. Wait, we got this guy, but wait, we need another safety. Maybe Christian McCaffrey plays both sides of the ball.
That's what they was going to end up having to do. Like Christian McCaffrey was going to have to play running back and safety or corner, and then somebody. I'm sorry. Today, maybe like I said, 10 years ago, they had an argument. 10 years ago, they had an argument because you got to think about like you had Brian Urlacher and what's dude John Lynch and stuff like that. Like 10 years ago. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little nervous because they not talented, but they go smack you in the mouth. So it's like, yo, we gonna be, we might be hurt after this, but we gonna have, it's gonna be a game. But now today, it's like there's not as many of those. Yeah. On the offensive side, it's a decent amount, but on the defensive side, it's not nearly as many white people as it used to be.
Yeah, because I think Will.
How many white edge rushers are there?
Right. No, I mean, they got that.
Yeah,
I think they got edge rushers.
Yeah, the Bosa's.
So I think they got the edge, or at least can. Well, I think they got the. But to me,
one of those edge guys going to have to be in the middle.
I think they was. Yeah, I think they was talking about linebackers. I think Will Compton said they might have linebackers, but then I'm like, Fred Warner, Roquan, and then adds anybody. Like, you can add TJ Edwards there that's leading the NFL in tackles right now. Like, I think we got linebacker. They got edges. We got DT. We got the cornerbacks or the DBs.
Yeah, all the DBs is good.
I think
matter of fact, just think about that. just think about them
because they like getting dirty.
Yeah.
Y'all remember football locker rooms? It usually was the white guys offensive.
They like doing the dirty work. Yeah, they like doing the dirty work. Yeah, I was saying, but once our receivers step on the field, then it's like, all right, get out of here. Yeah, get out of here. Justin Jefferson, Tariq Hill, you know,
and they got tight ends.
Now I will say it's gonna be sad. It's gonna be sad, but we might lose Mike Evans. I look at Mike Evans. I don't quite know what I don't know what you are, Mike.
He could be a part of. He could be a part of the Curry trade.
Yeah. You're part of the mixed crowd. Until proven otherwise, you probably have to be on the mixed crowd. You got to bring a birth certificate.
Justin Jefferson and Adams, them blackety black. they blackety black.
And we get Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, blackety black.
Tyreek Hill, you like I said, Stephon Diggs. You got Trayvon Diggs on the other side. If he healthy, like
I feel great about our line.
Yeah, I was saying black people. Yeah, it's like
one guy on TikTok was like, a man said, he said, now with the wide receivers, we're not good at DB, so guard them 15 yards back. Then somebody said, well, I think I gotta guard Tyreek Hill.
25 yards back. Immediately 25 yards back. Never mind. Take it back to the drawing board.
I like the fact that everybody did take it humorously. I'm sure there were some people that I didn't see that's on Twitter that took it like a stick in the ass type people. Pause. But you know,
I like how the world took that man's pain and made it a joke.
Right, exactly.
That's really what that was. That man was in pain, and everybody took it as a joke.
It was disrespectful.
Like, just talk to them.
That's why he made the tweet, because people keep playing with him,
and they continue to play with him.
Put some respect on his name. Put some respect on his.
You got some disrespect on your name now, because everybody looking at you, even black folks looking at you.
I don't know if Rashad Mendenhall is even making. If we do 10 years ago,
he's not on.
He's not making the.
He's not making the water boy.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, to me, it's just like it's just an unnecessary with all the stuff that's going on in the world, in real world. Why do we need you of all people talking about? Like, I could see if it was coaching.
No, that's insanity. I can understand it. That's insanity. If somebody is bringing up something that happened one time, 15 Yeah, it's almost.
Ask him to come and tackle you.
15 years ago. I'm sure that's probably been his response in the past. But you got to think about it. 15 years running, he probably has heard that his entire life about this dang fumble. He's probably heard that in his entire life. I might want to choke a white dude. I don't know. Eventually.
What about Leon Litt? Who kicked the ball out of the end zone, or Don Beebe? I know I'm aging myself, but he was running back a touchdown, and Don Beebe came and knocked the ball out of his. Like, I'm sure he's dealing with that shit. He's not up here asking for race wars,
man. But has there ever been a bigger screw up than Mendenhall's fumble, though? This is Super Bowl. Like, we've seen silly plays. Mark Sanchez
players screw up.
Players screw up. Like that
was the Super Bowl, but Dallas still won.
If he doesn't fumble that,
they win.
They win. So in reality, you gave Aaron Rodgers his only Super Bowl. So it's like, I can see why that would be.
And then you gave it to freaking Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and then at that, it's not like the Steelers. They not talked about it like it, but they are the team that wins Super Bowls a lot.
Yeah, they there a lot. They always making them.
Yeah, so the fact that it's like, man, we could have had another one. You blew it. think about it. People give Cam grief about the fact that he didn't jump on that fumble, and that didn't necessarily lose them the game.
But it would have.
Helped them if he would have jumped on it. But Mendenhall lost the game. The game was won. They were running out the clock, and he fumbled the ball. Like, so the fact that happened, like, yeah, people are not gonna forget that as easy. That's one of the most iconic screw ups of all time in the NFL to me. Like, and I've seen a lot of screw ups. Deshaun Jackson didn't drop the ball before running into the end zone. You got Mark Sanchez butt fumble. All of those things have happened, but none of them necessarily have happened in a crucial moment like game winning Super Bowl.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to wrap the show right here. Y'all let us know what y'all think about the Pro Bowl being black versus white. I like Vic's new addition. Throw a mixed team in there. Make it a tournament. Yep. Who's going to make it? I don't know what. Maybe it could be a couple mixed teams. Like if you're mixed with black and white, if you're mixed with an international, all type of different things. Just mix.
They're starting to get a lot of internationals. The guys who can do it. Just an international team against rugby American white rugby versus black team. The rugby versus white team.
Pro Bowl would be lit. Like they need to come to us to play in the Pro Bowl. Like for sure. Do the black and white, do the mixed teams, do the rugby versus NFL, all of that shit. That shit would be dope. But we like to thank you all for tuning in to 3 Point Stands podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Leave a comment, comment, subscribe. We appreciate you for taking your time to tune in. And as we always say here at 3 Point Stands podcast, stand for what you believe in. Peace.